for the North American challenges here. Of course, our coverage brought to you by Clutch GG. We're hopping straight into stage one here for North America, right into our first match of the day. My name's Infinity. I'll be joined by Seymour for the North American games. Colin, we're jumping straight into this one. It's an incredible matchup. That being said, I think most of the North American matchups we have are
gonna be good. Yeah, 100% across the whole board for NA. But yeah, Texas Nation, Team Raw, the #1 team in the cups right now. Texas Nation going up against the team looking for redemption behind Jimbo, entering on in with Paul X, Venom, and Gravity. So this is gonna be a good one. Gavin2 Hardpoint already looking like a soft start from Texas Nation, a 20-point lead, but they have the rotations on lock. And look at the mini map. It's Team Raw spawning over towards the upper right side of the mini map, looking for a break.
They are. Kismet sitting inside at the moment. Havoc on the AA gun. You got Venom trying to push his way on through. Venom actually wins that one inside the hard point. Pretty well done to do that as well, because it's kind of tough when a player is just sitting inside the tank like Venom is right now. Nicely done from Venom to get that kill onto the AA gun. Looking for some more kills, though, facing down the pressure of Texas Nation. And here now you're starting to see why Texas are a force able to get streaks early on is, I believe that was Kismet who brought that one on down, but unfortunately it won't connect.
You know what was big, Brody, is that you see Texas Nation, they were spawning Team Raw all the way in the back, and now they have the rotations over to next. So this rotation battle, it's going to be huge. Kismet shuts down Jimbo. It's 3v2 right now on the front line. Player number 3 is going to have a pinch eventually, but Texas being here first is going to turn into initial time.
It will. One player has slipped the net, though. It will be Venom, who does get shut down here. Kismet with a nice two-piece, looking for number 3 as well. Gravity, peek your nose out, buddy. I'm sure Kismet will be happy to give you a bonk on it. It won't happen. Kismet not going to get that free kill just yet, but Gravity really feeling the pressure in that particular engagement will be forced away. And off the back of this as well, you can see those sprees starting to be racked up here by Texas Nation. Brezzy has a glide bomb. He has that in the back pocket ready to go. Kismet about to earn another glide bomb as well.
Yes, they are. Here comes the break. Team Raw in Gravity to fall. Kismet on a 5 in a row. Re-ups on that glide bomb now. Here comes the break back from Texas Nation around the side with the sidearm in hand. Kismet's going to find one around the outside. Venom, nice wraparound to shut him down. So scrap time for Team Raw. You're looking at rotations once again dominated by Texas Nation. They have a 50-point lead going into this hill number 5. And Team Raw, you have to traverse this map. They're going to want to get here soon, and they're going to want to break this because of the score streaks that Texas Nation have.
Indeed, this is going to be a big moment here in this game. Texas Nation can't really be allowed to build any momentum here in this hardpoint. Team Raw need to kind of put a stop to it right now, especially as you say, with all those streaks in the back pocket. Paul X able to pick up 2. That'll stop Brezzy short of a strafing run. Nonetheless, though, I mean, they are not in the hardpoint. Texas Nation still have players inside. General is going to lay down next to the barrel for now, looking for some more kills. He will get the first against Jimbo. What can Gravity do about this situation? Apparently not very much. Texas Nation are just doing such a splendid job at the moment of keeping Team Raw at bay. They haven't seen a single second of time off the back of this hardpoint. And even worse, I think here, Colin, they haven't actually kept Texas Nation out of the time also.
No, and it's because of Havoc here on your screen. 15 and 7 on that AR was locking down the crossfire over from that LST ship to P5. And nobody from Team Raw could get close because of him. Here you got the nade cooked, watching for the front line. Pollux to deliver back. So Team Raw trying to fight things out, shuts down Havoc, but the rest of the team steps up to the plate. Gravity, the only one here, and he falls as well. It's 4 in the feed, going the way of Texas Nation. Once again, they're going to get the rotations here, and Team Raw all the way down a whole 110 points. They need to break this soon because they're falling behind, and they are falling behind at a heavy hand.
Here we go, Brezza. You're going to bring the hammer down, and it's going to be hammer time with this glide bomb. He's actually only going to take his teammate out. That's unfortunate, isn't it? As Team Raw now continue to hold this time. Finally, some shining light in the darkness for Team Raw. It's quickly snuffed out, though, as General on a 6 spree will put more streaks in the back pocket. It seems like every single time we're on board with Texas Nation player at this point, somebody has to spree, Colin.
It does. I mean, that's why they have so many score streaks, Brody, and that's why they're able to snowball this from point to point and deny Team Raw of everything. But they are collecting quite a good time here on this P1 hill. You can see the rest of the team for Team Raw are putting a lot of emphasis on the rotation. So this is a good transition point right now from Team Raw. If they can convert these point 1 to point 2 into hill time, they could notably bring themselves back. But when the kills come through, Texas Nation just dominating on the inside.
Yeah, they're getting outslayed right now. Look, I don't want to color in this situation, to be honest with you, Color. I don't want to put anybody in a bad situation. Jimbo is currently 4 and 23. Like, he is not having a good game whatsoever. Venom also 8 and 16. When players like that aren't having a good show, and they are usually very stylish players, things are not just going to go well, and it starts to become a little bit more obvious now why we're seeing situations like this for Texas Nation, where they are currently in a indomitable position with streaks after streaks after streaks. Right now, they do not have control of the hill, but it doesn't really matter as long as Team Raw don't also. This lead, indomitable. It's just so tough in these situations, right, Colin, to ever come back.
It is. And that's why we're talking about Texas Nation as the #1 team coming into the elites right now, into the qualifiers. Yes, they did have a little bit of a stumble, but I mean, you can see that they found ground eventually, and they're right back into place, heavily outslaying them. Whereas Jimbo, I mean, that redemption point that we were talking about just hasn't found it right now. And in fact, he's falling straight on his face inside Gavitu. So you're looking at him to pick things up for the rest of the game to try to get some momentum into the rest of the series, or even make this a little bit of a closer fight for Gavitu. It's 187 to 112. Not out of this just yet. They're going to be here at the beach first. Texas Nation will have to break.
Texas Nation will have to break indeed. And well, yeah, it's not really much of a problem, is it? I really want to be positive about this, but there's just so many streaks on the board for Texas Nation. They have just so many weapons in their arsenal. There's not really much that Team Raw can do about that, to be honest with you. They just have to do it by raw gun skill and really hope for the best at this point in time. There is just a couple of players in the hill for now. Texas Nation going to spawn out over towards the Radio Shack, though, and they will quickly make their way over towards helping out those teammates inside this hard point for Team Raw. With 15 seconds left, the best thing they can possibly do is just rotate away. But even then, Colin, they haven't even done that.
No, they haven't. They're in the same pattern that we saw in the last time around from this hill rotation. You got player number 5 and player number 6 trying to get there, but Texas Nation, the first ones here, and they're just overwhelming them with numbers and overwhelming them with their sheer gun skill. And when they lose in the gun skill, they have the streaks to back them up. Just nobody can break. It's 15 seconds, and Texas Nation are ready to stumble on into a map victory to lead this series. Only 10 points needed. Team Raw, it's do or die to just try to get some fire lit underneath you before the rest of the series.
I think this might well be a 3v4 now, actually. I think somebody has just actually left the game. I think General has either just slipped out the game or left the game. I'm not entirely sure what the thing is, but there is 9 points still left to be acquired here for Texas Nation. You've got to imagine with the amount of streaks on board, still Havoc now on a 7th spree of his own, that it's highly likely they will still be able to do this. Not entirely sure. Right now, of course, Kismet will actually wait for his teammates off the spawn and give up the rotation towards Team Raw for now. They were still fighting for the scrap time, maybe. I think that's why he kind of just stood still for a second. Nonetheless, this rotation will now come on through. You've got to imagine these guys will probably just want to play this methodically, use one of the streaks they have to kind of break on through, and now it doesn't really matter. Team Raw, they are over there. They are ready to hold on.
You have to think. I mean, just one break and it's over for Raw. You have to be careful in the way you handle this. Brezzy is going to get in. Nice shots from Gravity to shut that one down, but I mean, one solid break, and this is done. And here, General's back into it. So 4 players across the board on either side. Raw has gotten a little bit of momentum here with that fumble of the player DCing. So this could get a little bit shaky towards the end of it, but we highlight it. Just one break, and that's going to be it.
And the thing is, the door has now been opened, of course. Venom now on a 7 spree. He finally has streaks of his own, although I expect Texas Nation to utilize theirs first. Jimbo finally starting to get something in his favor here. 7 and 30. Yes, it's still not that respectable of a KD, but it's a hell of a lot better than just the 3 kills he had previously. He's really starting to heat up in this game. Team Raw, they've had an opening, and Venom is now on a 10 spree as well. He picks up 3, looking for number 4. It is going to be denied. You have to imagine Venom has to use his streaks here.
You'd like to see it. You need to see it happen soon. Scrap time's going to go to Texas Nation. Here comes a glide bomb. Who's it going to be? Venom trying to look to take this player out, and he does. General's going to fall, but another one's there. Big one-on-one inside the hill. Gravity, can he turn up? No, Kismet shuts him down, and he's going to shut down the map. So Texas Nation, they weather the storm. It gets a little bit choppy when General loses out of the lobby, but he gets back into things. You know, Venom finds a little bit of a door open, but just like that, Texas Nation, they close it.
I was stressed. I was way more stressed than I should have been there. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like, obviously, General did not get 1 kill and 3 deaths in that game. He did lag out on the Radio Shack hardpoint. When that happened, I was like, yeah, they only need 9 seconds. This isn't going to be a problem, Colin, whatsoever. It's okay. It's fine. They did it in the end. General joins back in, although I dread to think what would have happened if General would have been out for the rest of the game, because Raw did use that to their advantage. They came back through. And actually, to be fair, props to Texas Nation for trying to do what they did, even when they were 3-4 down, because they were pulling out some good strategies. I think at one point, I think it was Brezzy that spawned up. He was like, right, I'm just going to wait. We're spawning at the back line. There's still like 15 seconds left on this hill. We only need, I think it was 7 of that at that point in time. So let's just try and push for this time. That is exactly what they do. But let's look at the stat lines then here, Austin. Colin, sorry. Anything stand out? I'm sorry. I'm getting my Canadians mixed up. Anything stand out to you here, Colin?
You know, I don't even, I can't even see it. Like, how do you mix that up? I mean, Austin's just too handsome.
You're very attractive men. I think that's the
Appreciate
thing
it.
here.
Well, you know what? One thing that really stands out to me when you're looking at the stats is Jimbo. We highlighted Team Raw, and he needs to be the X factor for it. You know, coming into this for Scrappy, they get a top 4 placing back in Cup number 4, and you have to think it's because Jimbo coming into this roster, kind of bringing things back for the squad. Now, this is not the way you wanted to start your elite stage for the start against the #1 team who had a little bit of a hiccup inside the bracket, but are looking to find their feet once more into this. So at the end, I think when you're looking at Team Raw, having General Leg out there would have been a solid morale boost, just to, like, you know, kind of pat some stats, bring things back in your own way, and try to get the vibes back before map number 2 happened, because that Gavitu, it was done a long time ago. General just needed to come back and they could solidify it, and that they did. But Venom going on that little bit of a spree that we did see may have opened the door for an opportunity to get the vibes back going for Team Raw. So although Texas Nation, they walk away with that Gavitu, that little bit of a hiccup may have allowed the side of Team Raw to pull things back. And when we look at the maps, it's Berlin coming up next, and this is going to be big for when it comes to slaying. Who can find those opening kills? And you need everybody to be on that level. Find those openings for your squad to get in through the map.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for Texas Nation, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. This roster, you know, coming into stage number 1, they had been the most consistent team for a reason, right? I mean, they had the #1 seed going into qualifiers. They've looked really, really good. And there, I think we saw exactly why. That is not a representative scoreline, by the way. 250 to 195. If you're just joining us here, you missed map number 1. Yeah, it wasn't a 250 to 195 game. It was like a 250 to like 120 game. That would have, make no mistake, that would have ended had General not lagged out of the game. And it is quite a scary prospect, I think, for Raw, sorry, at the end of map number 1, right? Because you're facing down this Texas Nation roster. They did that well in map number 1. God knows what the rest of the series looks like.
Especially in Berlin. I mean, who's going to take up the sniper in my head? You need to be looking at the sniper plays. Berlin, it adds to so many factors. I know when you look at Team Raw, Paul X, he's been known to do that, but it looks like over at B, Rezzy, we're going to lock things down at the dock. Can't really see through the walls. It is going to be an A hit for Team Raw. And Venom opening things up, but Havoc gets the trade.
Havoc has been traded out. So now 3 for 3 we go. Venom, of course, with that bomb in hand, will want to take it towards A. That certainly seems like the line of attack. Rezzy, eagle eyes onto that B bomb site, though, for now. General and Kismet, this looks like to be a 2v2. Venom and Gravity. The smoke now coming on through. General, the pre-fire, isn't going to connect with anything just yet. Technically speaking, until Brezzy comes to join this play, this is a 2 versus 3 here, Colin.
I think Raw, they don't know that, but it would be a great time to take this opportunity. Kismet going to find this Venom to trade once more into the corner. They have eyes on General. The information is going to be there, but where's Brezzy? Oh, he snuck in behind. If they take down General, it would open up a rotation over to B, but General's going to lock this down. Now Venom trapped in between both Texas Nation players, looking to take this one-on-one against Jordan General, but no, he's just going to put running shoes on, try to slip down mid. I don't know if this is good timing or bad timing, but he's about to walk in front of Brezzy. Reads it, gets the shots off. 1v1, 13 seconds left. He gets this bomb down. Might just be doable.
Nah, he's going to plant this on the side of General. General should have an easy kill there. There you go. Spent a little bit too long doing that there, although I don't think there was really many options for Venom in that particular position, right? He's kind of like, right, well, I have to make some kind of route happen here. What is the least likely route that these guys are going to check? So I'll just run straight through mid. Up in a broken. He does get that first kill, but of course has zero idea where General is, and ultimately that will be his downfall.
I like the idea of Team Raw, you know, quick hit to A, but, you know, losing that first player, I would have liked to see them try to take a little bit off the gas, maybe make a move towards B for the rotation, but they stick with it. They try to get it done. Venom's going to drop the smoke for an easy rotation into the office, but they're about to meet some heat here. Kismet and Havoc just around the outside, fishing for this opening first blood. Well, Jordan General, you can see him just a little bit down into the bottom left, watching for that flank. All eyes are going to be on what Havoc and Kismet are going to be able to open up here at A.
Venom, he knows somebody's on the other side of the door. There it is. You can see all the utility that was being thrown around by Havoc inside. Venom was like, yeah, look, I'm not pushing this. It's just smart just to wait for Havoc to come in through the door. And, well, We're off the back of that. 4 versus 3 we go. Of course, Kismet still has the bomb in hand, so at the very least, it wasn't Havoc that kind of carried it into that little closet area of the office. Still, 40 seconds left on the clock here. Texas Nation, they are the ones that need to make the move forward here, Colin. And here we go. General looking for the kill, and Kismet comes up those stairs, gets punished by Gravity. This seems to be a really tough situation now for General and Prezi. And oh yeah, look at that angle from Gravity. He is going to get one before being traded on through. So 2v3 we go. This is still possible.
But Paul X has the eyes on the bomb. General tries to get into a situation where he maybe can drop it, but it's going to lead Prezi in a 1v3, and they shut him down. So a big play out of Texas Nation to try to get into A exactly like Team Raw did, but once again, they just get shut down right in the opening. It was Venom to take down Havoc, leads it. The Kismet dropping that bomb in such an unfortunate position. You see Gravity up top has eyes on the players, Brody, but after all of that, just not being able to recover, Texas Nation losing numbers one by one, Prezi in a 1v3, not much you can deal on the inside, especially when eyes are on you. So I'd like to see one of these teams, you know, take a hit to B, try something new, and it looks like Team Raw are going to do that this time around.
Yep, straight towards B they go. Of course, it is the easy to bomb site to defend once you have it down. Prezi looking for the first blood against Paul X, will not be able to get a single shot in. Every single one goes wild. Now for Prezi, his information location has been revealed. Case of what do you do with that if you're Team Raw? Do you bother pushing it? You also have to be careful because there might well be players on the flank. Technically speaking, I think Havoc actually is. Gets that one kill, dips away, and Prezi is still alive on the docks here.
Yeah, they haven't even spotted him. They have no idea. And with how close Prezi is, as soon as Venom tries to put this bomb down, I'm sure Prezi is going to get an audio cue. So going to be funneling that information to the rest of Texas Nation. But Venom gets this bomb down, gets out with his life. Pollock's going to be set up on the crossfire. General rips him off the heady. The Dre's going to be there from Venom, but still numbers over to Texas Nation. Venom trying to finesse his life is going to get a second onto General on the inside, trying to keep these players at bay. It's the nade to take him out, but Havoc, he takes down a teammate as well. 24 seconds. We're in a 1v1, and Gravity's in such a power position.
Havoc will know about it. He's going to push this as well. Does Gravity see this coming? No, he doesn't. Now, does Havoc get enough time here? Get your running shoes on. Get yourself to that bomb in time. Will he be able to grab it? He's going to grab it in time. Beautifully done by Havoc. He recognizes, well, realistically speaking, there is a couple of places that this last player can be. I'll check at least one of them. Might as well go for it. And that is exactly what happens. That's a really nice clutch.
You know, bro, I'm not sure if I like that play out of Gravity there. I mean, you know, you need to check if that player is hopping the bomb, but most importantly, you need to check if that player is challenging you. And facing the wrong way the whole time, Havoc just showcases such a cheeky spot to get in there, takes him down. Now, brings this to a 2-1 advantage to Team Raw. And shout out Venom, 6-2, having such a big play to put Gravity in that situation. It's a missed opportunity for a round win from Gravity. And now Texas Nation, they're looking to go right back at A. Who was it? It was Venom to shut them down, Havoc to lead the way, but it's all just a ploy to get that smoke down and rotate this bomb back to the B side. So Kismet's going to drop, bomb goes down, and everything's falling apart now for Texas Nation. Havoc needs to pull it back, and that's one way to do it.
3 for 3 we go. Gravity and still in fire. Looking to extend the advantage for Team Raw here, but in their favor. Jimbo still inside that bomb. There is a player to his right as well that he's going to have to be careful with. Now Prezi pushing up the street. I think a lot of players at the moment really have very little idea where each other are. But here we go, Prezi looking to put this in their favor. A nice kill going up against Jimbo. Now that's the retrieval of the bomb that they needed. Gravity up in fire is not going to be able to put a stop to this one. And as far as Texas Nation are concerned, they're pretty happy now. They're able to get this bomb down. They have the man advantage. Or they did, but Venom comes in from behind, takes down Prezi. I'm not sure how General didn't see that, but regardless, they are going to end up winning the round. But still, more shaky I think that should have been.
And then you have Havoc, who is all the way deep in enemy territory, who does find Gravity on the rotation, but I'm surprised Prezi even had the opportunity to take that fight onto Jimbo when Gravity was up there. He should have had eyes on there, and it just seems like the information is not there for Team Raw. There is some communication that is not finding its way to the players down inside the deep gunfights. So another round goes the way of Texas Nation. Prezi and Kismet 1-3, 1-4, and they're still converting these into round wins, and it's just because, you know, you look at the top players on each team, there's only 2 players really popping off in either front, and the rest of them just clean up when they could. Texas Nation are gonna try to throw a wrench in things, send all 3 players over towards the A side, and Havoc, boy, is he gonna win this fight as the backline. He's going deep.
Well, That first engagement isn't going to be down to Havoc. It's going to be down to General taking down Gravity. As you say, though, looking at Kismet right now, this reposition to stop this bomb going down. It's going to be a long one. Now Havoc, though, going to use that streak. Of course, it will slap down on the roof of the hut. This bad boy can fit so many glide bomb kills in it. It's going to get the one for Havoc. General with another as well. And now Venom left up in a 1 versus 4. This bomb is going down.
Well, this
No
bomb,
matter what. And there we go. Just like that. Nice diffuse coming through, Resi.
flawless out of Texas Nation for the retake. I like that. You know, they change things up for their defense. They leave B open, try to give Team Raw a little bit of false sense of security on that half. All 4 players flood in. They take down Gravity, and they kind of flip the map on these players. You see Shriek gets used as well. Finds Jimbo on the inside. Just keeping numbers in their favor. And when the collapse comes through, it's just flawless. But I want to keep my eyes on Brezzy because I saw him with the sniper in hand. And if this is going back to B, if he's keeping that sniper out, I'm looking at him to really open up this map for his team to have safe travels.
Indeed, Havoc. See what he can produce here in this one.
He put it away.
Yeah, he didn't get it just yet. Regardless, Kismet this bomb. I think going up top, this is an unconventional route for a bomb carrier.
I think it's even an unconventional hold for the defense. Look at where Venom's sitting, expecting the aggression to come through the middle of the map. Not a lot of control towards A. Jimbo, the farthest one push up for Team Run. That's all the way deep inside mailroom. Kismet's going to ring off shots, gives himself up, but he's going to snap onto Gravity. The trade comes through, but that's a huge pick. Now, Gravity, the main AR gone. There's not going to be a lot of information, and Brezzy to double down onto Jimbo is just going to open this map up even more for Texas Nation.
Resi pushed very far back now as well. This is a 1 versus 2 for Venom. Of course, Havoc's still got that streak ready to go if he really wants to use it. Not that he would. I'm surprised Havoc hasn't actually heard Venom just slap that door wide open, to be honest.
You would think.
25 seconds left. I mean, what, Havoc and Brezzy are the ones that need to make the move, and Venom might actually just run straight into them incidentally. All right, nope, they're going to go towards B. That's unfortunate for Venom.
Anybody you want in this situation, it's going to be Venom right now. 9-4. Wrong. Havoc's going to have eyes on the cross whenever it comes through, and Venom with the submachine gun. Looks like he hops up top, seeing if he can get some information from it, but Brezzy's not giving him anything. He's tucked away in B. He's hoping Havoc's just going to feed the information to him. When he does it, there it is. Havoc's going to spawn him. Brezzy knows this. He's going to hop on this Godheady. Venom's just trying to get into here, but it's Havoc to take him down from behind. They don't expect the long play, and Havoc just playing that perfectly. Texas Nation keeping Team Raw in the blender after Gavitu. That little bit of a hiccup wasn't anything. You over to search and destroy, and it's been next to flawless for this team.
I thought for a second there Havoc wasn't going to see him. He jumped out the window. He didn't see him the first time. He saw him cross the street. It was okay. I was got a sigh of relief going on there, but it's okay. 5-1 for Texas Nation. Not so okay for Team Raw. They are not having a good go of things here. Venom, the only player performing right now on this roster. For Texas Nation, they still have a streak to go as well, but we can see right now from our X-ray that Team Raw looking to take this bomb over towards B, and well, sigh of relief for all Team Raw fans out there. Jimbo going to draw first blood.
Paulax doubles down. They fly towards A, and they shut down Texas Nation. This is the best we've seen so far. Let's see them get this bomb down and convert this into a round win. You can see Brezzy and Havoc through the wall, both kind of playing hand in hand to try to get this, but 40 seconds on the clock. Time now pressuring Texas Nation. You got Brezzy up top third and Havoc inside burning, but Gravity's going to spot Brezzy trying to get up top to find a better angle, and now Havoc's going to be left all alone.
Havoc in a 1 versus 4. I think if you're this man, just try and do as much damage as humanly possible or find your way off the map as quickly as humanly possible, to be honest with you. I think it's going to choose the former, just in case Paulax decides to get a little bit jumpy and chooses to challenge him. There will actually be a player to his left that's going to challenge him, but there's no way Havoc's going to get out of that engagement. There's no turning on anybody in this game. As a fast as hell TTK attached to Vanguard, and that will most certainly help that player, of course, Venom. Who else but Venom to close up shop here in this round?
He's double positive right now, putting his team in his bag. Putting his team on his back right now, Brody. And you know, you see the way Venom was playing the last round on defense. It's because this time Team Raw, you see they just exploit the opening through mid. Paulax runs, follows up onto Jimbo's opening first blood. They open up the A site by finding the first opening 2 kills, and they're going to take this. Now, you look at Texas Nation in retaliation. They're going to go to look to take over this B side once more because they still have streaks to use. But Jimbo, oh, he saw Kismet. He's not going to get the kill, but he knows now. This is heading over to B.
Well, Kismet has the bomb in hand. Get it down if he really wants to. Obviously, they're being a little bit cautious. Jimbo going to be able to one kill against Brezzy to get the hell out of dodge. But in the meantime, this bomb will now go down towards B. This makes this infinitely harder to win for Team Raw. Jimbo trying to put some shots into the wall. Maybe presume that someone will be there. Venom not aware that somebody's right next to him, but it's going to be a double slap to the face against Havoc. This round quickly falling by the wayside for General and Kismet, but the one advantage they have, once again, is they did have that back positioning. It is just Kismet now left up. 1 versus 4. He's already got the first kill. Somebody on the defuse, though.
I don't know.
Don't know if he's going to be able to stop this. He will, but again, Gravity is there for the help, and Kismet can only do so much in a 1 versus 4.
I mean, Kismet almost got away with murder there, Brody. He just snuck through the lines. He gets in there. He finds the first one, and if not for the numbers, that could have been scarier for Team Raw. So they string together 2 kills. Why is that? Jimbo first bloods. 2 rounds in a row now, finding those openings for his team. Starting to pick up the pace and the kill factor, and that's just opening up a world of opportunities for the rotations, for the advantage that Team Raw have been looking forward. So let's see if they can keep up the success. Back onto the attack this time around. I'm curious to see if they go back to that A side because they found success at it last time around by overwhelming those 2 players. But off the rip, looks like Gravity is going to set up to watch down Boulevard towards B. And the rest of his team moving towards A. Venom so far pushed up.
He's just watching that cross to make sure nobody comes from Texas Nation, pushes through train station to try and get in from behind. Of course, there's no real reason for Texas Nation to do that unless they get a little bit jumpy. Just they can defend it from inside the bomb site. Venom with that bomb, though, can sit there for as long as he likes. He's not going to win the round off the back of that waiting game. General just watching the mid-map for now. This is one of those really awkward positions. Something has to give sooner rather than later. And here we go. Team Raw going to move on Texas Nation here. Texas, they did give up the bomb site, Colin.
They did give up the bomb site, but it seems like they know it's still going to happen. So they want to play this retake right now. They have a lot of control inside burning buildings, so they know that there's no flank going to be happening from Team Raw. So as soon as this bomb goes down, I want to take this good old gunfight, but Havoc, oh, he hits the jump. He finds it, and General opens up with first blood, so that's going to make this even harder. More information. They spot Venom and Brezzy. Oh, the sniper's not going to get it, but Havoc's there to clean things up. Things falling apart for Team Raw. Texas Nation, they're looking to put this one away, and they know Paul X is there, trying to live as best as he can. Gravity's going to drop on the flank, and all the gunfights go the way of Texas.
Oh, Kismet. He just turns around. He's like, yeah, Gravity's probably coming behind right now. I'm just going to turn after putting those first 2 shots into Paul X. Really lovely play coming out of Texas Nation. There's so much breathing room there. And of course, you can see it. Kismet again turning around for this final kill onto Gravity. And actually, you can see the call was probably made to General. Like, General's like, yeah, by the way, Gravity's coming from behind. Can you just clean him up for me? You know, we've got to clean up on aisle 4. And regardless, it is going to be Texas Nation walking away with the dub in game number 2. I can't lie to you, you know, beyond those last 2 round victories from Team Raw, so far everything has been pointing to Texas Nation.
It has been.
Giving Team Raw a fat slapping.
And it's coming down to just the overall fundamentals that I'm seeing out of Texas Nation. I mean, they look just well-ironed. They look like a well-oiled machine. We highlight on that little bit of an upset back in the bracket play for the qualifiers, 2 Bear Claws. It was nothing but a stumble. They've been through this plenty of times, and it looks like when they get back into the meat of things, they are looking like what could be the best team right now. And that's why they are number 1 coming into the qualifier. Now, they are going up against Team Raw, a team who has been struggling, and now Jimbo coming into it. It doesn't look like it's been the puzzle piece that you would expect that we saw in Cup number 4 take him and propel them into that 4th placing. You look at this on the board and just it speaks numbers when you see Havoc 11-4, Jordan General 8-5, Kismet 6-6, Brezzy, he was only 2-7, but that's okay because he was finding big openings. You look at both of those kills, they weren't traded. Majority of them were going to be openings for the squad to find that bomb down. And you look at the rest of it, I mean, other than Venom, the rest of the players struggling inside that search and destroy. The same thing was the case inside Gavitu, and you're headed to control back to Gavitu, where those assault rifle players on Texas Nation can just shut you down time and time again. You have to be worried.
Yep, indeed you do, of course. We are going to Gavitu, and as you say, right, I think map number 1, if it was indicative of anything, yes, it was Hardpoint. You know, Control is still technically speaking a very different game mode, but I just think the AR control, the SMG pressure from Texas Nation, it was overwhelming for Team Raw in map number 1. I mean, you can see that bore out in the results. I mean, like I said, that should, technically speaking, have been a 250 to like 120, 130 maybe at best victory because of just how dominant they were. They were getting like streaks after streaks after streak. And the thing is, in Control as well, you give streaks away, it becomes a lot more unforgiving because those streaks are extremely useful when it comes to breaking into control zones, to defending control zones and the like. It's a bold call because we've seen reverse sweeps today already. I mean, hell, we just saw them in the last European match of the day. But I don't see a way with the way that Team Raw are playing right now that they get back into this game. I mean, look, casters are never supposed to count their chickens before they're hatched. I understand that. I'm breaking a cardinal sin of casting, but this is either way going to be a really, really, really large mountain to climb for these guys.
It is, and it's just because everything is just looking so sound on Texas Nation. They look like they're right now a squad that can be taken to taking the best teams in the league to maps. And when you're looking at it, you definitely you can't have Jimbo going 9-31 like he did back on that Gava 2 Hardpoint. If you're going to look at a player, it has to be him. I've already spoken him into existence as the X factor of this team, and that's because he really is. He's the new player on the squad, the newest player in the squad, and as soon as he came into this, they moved right into that number 4 placing inside Cup 4, and they qualified for the elites. So now you need to take that success. You might be a little bit nervous coming into the elites. If you're Jimbo on this squad, you might have something to prove, but you just need to play the same game that you've been playing in the past tournaments with your squad because you found success. Now you're just looking like you're trying to do a little bit too much and it's falling flat on its face.
Yeah, for sure. Look, this Texas Nation roster, it looks really good at the moment. I think the Team Raw, I think, coming into this one, as you say, right, they make the change. They weren't doing so well. I think pre-Cup 4, they weren't doing very hot. Scrappy was playing for the team, and Scrappy is a really good player, of course, now playing elsewhere in Stage 1. Nonetheless, I think Team Raw, it was a beneficial change to them, bringing Jimbo into the squad. He's looked really, really good, apart from that map number 1. And I think he has the potential to do some serious damage here in map number 3. It's whether or not they can activate that potential. The thing is, right, it is, for all we know, this could be one of those positions where Texas Nation, being 2-0 up in the series, are just miles better, but that doesn't make Team Raw a bad team, per se.
It doesn't.
Right? Because the thing is, Team Raw, we know they're placed 4th in cut number 4, so we know they are capable of high placements. That being said, should note that the last time these two teams faced off, it was a Texas Nation victory. All right, while we wait for map number 3 to get underway, I think it's a good time for me to note that this is not the only stream going on right now. If you want some coverage for challengers, of course, Texas Nations versus Team Raw is the match that we are covering. However, I believe Bear Claw versus Path to Pro is going down right now, casted by the ever wonderful IHOLDSHIFT and Visions over at youtube.com/COD Challengers. That is the main official broadcast, brought to you officially by the Call of Duty League. So go check that out if you want to watch that matchup. That, by the way, I mean, I'm kind of sad for myself. I'm pitying myself, calling that I can't watch it because my internet's trash.
I want to just watch Bear Claw. I mean, there's a reason this Bear Claw squad upset Texas Nation, and that's because they're the sky's the limit for them. I would love to be watching them right now and seeing it, but we're given an opportunity now to see Team Raw pull things back in their own right, try to find their way. I mean, you talk about the struggles in the past, Scrappy playing for them now. You need to look at the veteran play of this squad, Paul X and Venom. I mean, they have been playing together for a very long time, and Gravity as well with it. I mean, he's not a player to overlook. You're heading to Gavatu, and realistically, your assault rifle players should be shining, and you got to put a lot on them to try to open things up for them, try to pull things back, because in that hard point, it's just no excuse. I mean, you were struggling in that situation, and Control is something where you can't just be giving up lives like you were in the hard point. You can't be giving up streaks, because as soon as that happens, you're going to be falling very far down the hole that is Control, because we haven't seen too much of Control inside of Vanguard. It's a very new game mode for a lot of the viewers, for a lot of these teams practicing it. I mean, we saw it in Cold War, but if you're new to this one, lives are a factor. And they're a big factor. They could decide a whole game. You have a life limit of 30. You have a time limit on top of that can be extended by getting that. But when you look at that hard point and what needs to transition, you need to value your lives a lot more into the Control.
Now, well, we know Texas Nation, despite winning Cup number 4 with this current iteration of their team, they look pretty settled, of course. They themselves were not immune to roster changes. We should make that very clear. they did bleed in the qualifiers, right? They
did,
lost to Bearcore,
yes.
so it's not like they're invulnerable to damage. Team Raw, they have to take that advantage of that here. They have to beat them in this, otherwise they will be 3-0'd, and the start for Challengers Elite Stage 1 in North America for them won't be as great as they could have imagined. But let's get right into the mixer here. Of course, we have Texas Nation on the attack, and they want to get control of A, but so far, it's been good from Team Raw to stop them.
Well, you kind of highlight the two maps that we have for control, Tuscan and Gavitu. I mean, Tuscan, you know that A side is going to be a lot easier, but you look at the opportunities on defense for this, it's hard to get both sides. You have to pick one, and you have to slay out convincingly to cap this. You look at Gravity getting aggressive down the beach, trying to take some fights on the front line. General does shut him down, but it's just even harder for Texas to just push through the Meridian. That is this. So they're looking to overwhelm over towards B. Paulex is going to drop, not before finding Havoc down into that B area. So you're losing out on this player, and you see the rest of Team Raw just collapsing to shut down the rest.
The 25 seconds left on the clock here for Texas Nation to do something. So far, this has been a pretty unsuccessful round. Team Raw, can they put a stop to this? Of course they freaking can. What is this? This is a resurgence and a half from Team Raw. This is not the same roster that we saw in game number 1. Of course, Jimbo now just 1 kill away from a glide bomb. He will get it with a kill against Kismet, so that's huge moving forward here in this one. Just 10 seconds left, and the advanced position for Team Raw means that Texas Nation highly unlikely to even touch a point.
It looks like they're just going to let this time run out. Smart plays from Texas Nation. You didn't get anything going into that round, and that's totally okay. I mean, it's only round number 1. You're still filling each other out on Gavitu, and to be honest, Team Raw were doing a fantastic job at slaying out this time around. You said it yourself, resurgence indeed. And at the end, you don't want to feed streaks. You don't want to feed further kills towards the squad because you don't want to get things going. You see Jimbo's on 5 in a row. He's going to have that glide bomb going into the next couple of rounds, and that's going to be a pillar for Gavitu. The streaks have a big impact. We saw it back on the hard point, and I'm sure we're going to see it again here in the control. So right off the rip, Team Raw, what do they want to do? They want to go to A. One player, number 7, Gravity, watching right down the middle. It is going to be a 2-on-3 in here. General answers first.
He does. Looking for a trade. Straight off the bat, it's going to be Gravity. He will end up picking that kill onto Kismet. And this is a bit of a bold play coming in from Jimbo. I like it. The pragmatism coming through from Team Raw. They want to use those streaks straight away. They want to get A out of the way. And, well, it's not a bad decision. They do currently have control over it.
We use the streak, a little bit of insurance just to secure it. You need to that clean break, but Texas Nation, they don't want to give it up. Kismet looking for his way in for the automaton, and Venom shuts him down. So we're going to have that third take a progression. See if they can push another minute. Havoc's coming around from the back. One last chance to get it, but Ape gets secured. You add a minute to the clock.
It does. That streak, though, has fallen by the wayside at the very least for Texas Nation. They'll be happy about that. Now, though, whole 2 minutes to defend. That is a very long time in Call of Duty terms. But I like this from Texas Nation. They're holding strong at the moment. They've kind of got this standard setup, having somebody in the A gun, having somebody on the beach tank. Of course, players watching the flank also. So for Texas Nation now, just waiting for Raw to put a hit together.
It's going to be tough. Indeed, no streak this time to open it up. General, thinning the lines, is going to find Venom. Trade from Jimbo, but Brezzy here to help this out. Crossfire is going to be set up for Texas Nation. Brezzy finds Jimbo up top antenna. Building the back, some kills ringing through. Gravity only good for 1. Havoc again trading out. Texas Nation, they're okay with this. It's a 2-life disadvantage. Make it 3, but every single time you trade, these players on the beach, Kismet and the player up top, number 3, Brezzy, are going to have just more secure positions for these Team Raw players coming off spawn.
Keeping control of that A gun is paramount to the defense for Texas Nation. They will continue to spawn in that backline as Team Raw continue to press it. So they really don't mind losing a little bit of control towards the back there. They are just running down the clock at this point. And so far, they've done a good job of exactly that. We're down to the last 45 seconds here. Time quickly running through the fingers like sand of Team Raw. For now, that's the first kill they've got in quite some time, as well as Paulex able to get one, able to get a second as well. And now maybe a break in the line here. Paulex will put some pressure onto Brezzy and Kismet. Will it make them turn around?
Brezzy has a bunch yet. He's still sitting atop A gun. He's looking for the respawns to take it down. Well, he shuts down those respawns for Team Raw. So Venom's going to finally break Brezzy, but on the hill, still the clock running thin. 26 seconds, last couple chances for Team Raw to make something happen. Havoc's going to be checked, but General still locking things down at range. Pollux to fall as well. Only 2 players alive here inside the AA gun just to represent and just maintain some control, but it's not happening. Brezzy, with the help of Kismet, is going to shut down Gravity in last 7 seconds. Team Raw, I mean, you might just want to give this up and not feed streaks to the rest of the team because Texas Nation, they got this in the books.
Indeed, they do. Texas Nation going to draw things up here in control. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Team Raw, they tried so hard there to break that back line. I think they made like 3 attempts before finally getting somebody through. And all that was really about was just trying to get the player outside of AA gun, trying to get those players that were pushed all the way up to the beach to turn around and deal with that threat. And that is exactly what happened. It was enough for Team Raw to try and overwhelm them inside the AA gun. But by that point, just too little too late. They only had 1 attempt left. So Texas Nation, good defense from them. Keep an eye on General as well. He comes into this round with a 4 streak attached to his name. 1 more kill, a glide bomb. As we saw some Jimbo earlier on, those things are very helpful to try and take down sites.
Looks like there's going to be pressure to A right away. Gravity finds Kismet. Can he find a second as well? Looks like he's really playing his life here with the rest of the team rotating. He's going to find General as well, so shuts down the potential for streak. Team Raw collapse. They take down 3. And now look at this map control. Look at where Venom is sitting. Player number 5. Nobody can attack the A site. And in fact, if they do go back to B, Venom is just going to sneak his way in and take him down from the back. But right now, on the inside, kills going the way of Texas Nation. They might have found their way on, but Paul X and Gravity, they could do a good job. And here comes Venom to close the door.
Havoc looking for the kill inside AA gun. Going to try and play his life as well. Havoc in an important position here, going to distract these Team Raw players while the rest of his team make their way over towards A. Havoc finally does end up with Gravity. Now, for Texas Nation, they don't really have much time to make this work. You've spent so much of it making your way on towards B that this really has to work for Texas Nation in the position. And so far it is. Brezzy and Kismet able to chain together a couple of gunfights. An important engagement going over towards the beach as well as Jimbo takes down Havoc. But look at this from Gravity. Able to pick up an A kill on a Kismet. The kill with the Automaton as well against Brezzy. And for Texas Nation, I mean, they haven't even got 2 ticks of suppression. They've lost control of the boat.
Team Raw have looked fantastic. This bounce back map 3. You know, really putting some players, Kismet in general, in check. Quick hit to A, 13 seconds left. You can see one last chance. Clock is going to be stopped by player number 4, but he does get picked up by Paul X. Gravity to find Brezzy. Here comes the collapse in through mid. General's able to find 1, but the rest of his team drops, and now he's the last alive. Up top and that, and the score, or the clock, it's going to be burned. Team Raw, 2 rounds now, and on top of things, I mean, we highlighted at the start, those streaks, they would have been huge if Daniel could find them, but he doesn't find them, and in turn, they just don't have any sense of control to cleanly break Team Raw. Their defenses have looked so good in the way that they're controlling the map.
Yeah, the one thing I will say right now, right, is that Texas Nation, that is kind of one of the gambles you take when you try to push B straight out the gate, is that you spend so much time doing it. Of course, it is a while off from your offensive spawn that you don't really have much time to make A work. And, well, they do run out of time there. Team Raw able to win a defensive round. So here we go right into this one. For Team Raw, offense time. Can they make their way onto A? They're choosing to take the easier point first. And I got to imagine, I think for this team, probably the right decision.
Indeed. Find the opening kills as well. Less players to retake this for Texas. Kismet around the outside. Is going to find Jimbo. General from up top. It's taken down by Gravity, so good heads-up play from the rest of them. You got a tick locked down for Team Raw. Not too bad for your opening, but now Texas Nation, they're starting to string together some kills. They're starting to pick up some control, and a quick 3 down. Prezi plays his life. I don't know how he's still alive, but his rest of his team picking up in the kills like that. Prezi does fall, but here come the rest of Texas Nation to get these kills, and now you're at 53 seconds. A lot of time has been burned here, Brody. Raw fail at the A hit, but they're keeping this one going.
Nice free piece coming in from Gravity there. That should clear the A zone. Might be able to get the second tick of progression through now. And Texas Nation, they kind of face a choice here as they move towards Boathouse. Do they actually want to pour any resources into this one? They already are down by 3 lives. Might well be best just trying to play out the clock like they did in their previous defensive round. This is exactly what happened last time. Now, remember, last time, all it took was 1 player to kind of filter through the defensive line. That's happened much earlier this time around. Jimbo has cracked the defense, and now Texas Nation, they're going to have to scramble.
You got to see Team Raw follow up. Jimbo's going to need some help on the inside. Venom, you need to fly. You need to put some pressure on. Kismet's still alive on the outside. Can he find this player lurking? He does. Havoc's going to take down Jimbo as well, so nobody inside the B side to stop this, but the kill's still ringing through red for Team Raw. Off respawn. Last two that need to help, they are going to be completely disconnected. And on the inside, Venom, last one alive, 4 squad deep in enemy territory, has to play his life for a while and wait for the reinforcements to come in. And General playing a little bit of ring around the rosy. Here comes Gravity, still kills, trading out in Texas Nation. We said it in the last round, we're saying it again. I mean, these trades are going to be good because they're just trying to burn the clock right now. They're down at 11 lives. They got to be careful, but they're doing a good job at making sure that Team Raw, they don't have a lot of time to work with.
General. Kind of coming behind here. Nicely done to clear out these players from the base. That is huge, of course, because the amount of pressure that Raw put on there could have overwhelmed them, especially if those players continue to stay inside the spawn of Texas Nation. Texas got to remember as well, you can see players now starting to put together streaks. This is huge for them if they can get them going into a potential round 5. They might want to play from them at Brezzy. Now I'm from behind, causing some problems. There's one player who's got through the boathouse. That's going to be Paul X. It's going to cause a couple of players to turn around. But look at Brezzy on the minimap, by the way. Look how far into the defensive line he's got.
I mean, just look at all the control that Texas Nation have right now. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. There's no rock unturned right now. Paul X is going to find one, but he drops again. You're down to 26 seconds. Lives are dead even. Havoc now can turn to watch these players off the respawn. Kismet's locking down up top. Is finally going to drop, but finds 2 before that happens. 3 drop for Team Raw. Jimbo, last effort here to touch onto the site. Allow the reinforcements to come help him out, but it's General to lock them down one by one. 6 seconds left. Is anybody going to get on it? Jimbo needs to go big. He's going to hop through. Brezzy's going to take him down. Venom may have just found the opening. 2.4 seconds, Brody.
Kismet died as well, so actually he's back up. He was going to use one of these streaks here. You have to imagine Kismet's going to use one of his streaks. There you go. This glide bomb comes down, takes out one. Now, can you get any more? Kismet might have to use both of his streaks because if honestly, you would rather that than dying completely in the play. General's trying to play his life. He will not be able to. Kismet brings that second streak through. You have to imagine there it is. There's the first one. Just 1 second, one player on the point. All you got to do is finish the first player. It's going to be Jimbo. In a slide round, can he play his life? Yes, he can. That's such an amazing play out of Kismet. Brings the streak down, knows that's what he needs to do in the 1 versus 3, knows that player is the only one on the point. It's Jimbo, gets the kill, gets the hell out of dodge. What a play from Kismet there to close out that round and force a round number 5.
It's a 1v3 and he's back on a 3 spree. Yeah, it costed 2 streaks, but they're still alive in control, and that's what matters. Still playing for the sweep right now. Texas Nation alive and well, and Kismet turning up when they need to. One thing they've struggled with is the attack, and that's what they're going back again, Brody. We haven't seen an attacking round from either squad, and Texas Nation, they need to crack the code. This time around, they decide they want to go to A, and so far, it's actually paid off.
All right, this is from Texas Nation right now, deciding, look, we've kind of messed up on that one approach where we went straight towards B. Let's go to A this time around. Now, can they make it work? That's the question. Unfortunately for Brezzy, he will end up falling. Team Raw, they have players inside that A zone. One player on top of the boat. Gravity now looking to take this one from down low. Texas Nation, I think, would be smart to just give this one up and go straight towards B now. They've got 1 to progression. That is what they're going to do. Kismet, actually not going to go straight for the point. Might want to push through.
26 to 22. 57 seconds left. A-site didn't work, but look at Kismet's positioning here. All the way deep. Has opened up an avenue into the back, but Paul X a laser beam to shut that down. How's General alive? But if you look at the kill feed, a lot of kills ringing through for Texas Nation. You are going to get a little bit of a distraction from General over at B, drawing these players of Team Raw over to shut him down. But while that happens, it's all just a ruse, so that Texas Nation can hit into the A site and lock this down at the same time. Brezzy up top. Venom is going to get that kill. Havoc trying to play for the trade, but right now Venom just needs to stay alive on the inside. And Team Raw, they've actually shut this down on both ends.
Yeah, this is one of those problems again with doing split pushes that Team Raw can just basically push you away. This is exactly what happened to Texas Nation in the previous round. You really need to focus your efforts into one point, otherwise you're highly unlikely to actually win it. And now we're in the final 30 seconds of this round. Texas Nation have a Hail Mary play in the back pocket. That is basically all they've got at this point. They're down by 5 lives. They've only got 1 tick of progression on both of these points. Havoc tries to make his way into A. He is denied. Team Raw now, they've got control of the boat. They've got control of the AA gun, but they will actually lose that one fight over towards the AA gun. Instead now, though, Kismet going to help out onto this push into A.
This is the last chance. They need the touchdown. Here comes the attack, the retake. Venom, Gravity, the collapse. 4 seconds left to make this happen. On the inside, it's going to be Kismet. Venom from behind. Gets the shots in. Gravity to clean up. Brezzy now 1v1. Inside the LST ship. Gravity's going to win it out. No time. It's Havoc. Last-ditch effort, and he's going to drop as well. Team Raw, they take Gava2. They stay alive in the series, and this is a big one indeed. Something that was troublesome, but they get the job done. All teams finding defenses. They go back to back to back.
I gotta say, right, I understand here that Control is defensively sided. I absolutely get that, you know, and fair play to Team Raw for trying to grabbing the defense in round number 5. But I gotta say, you know, Texas Nation on the offenses, I think one of the things that you just simply can't do on a map such as Gavi 2 is split your offensive too much. You can't afford to really have 2 players at A and 2 players at B and really hope that that will pull you through. Because although Texas Nation are very good at brute forcing victories, a la map number 1, you know, I don't think that's going to work even against a squad like Team Raw on a map number 3, and that is where they made their mistakes on the offense. Just put too many eggs in each basket, what have you. Split their efforts, just didn't work in the end, and Texas Nation going to come out with an L there in Control. Although again, asterisk on that whole thing, because I know that offense on this game is incredibly hard to pull off at this stage,
especially on Gava2 compared to Tuscan.
For sure.
You know, like, some teams you can sneak away an attack on Tuscan, but Gava2, that's just it's hard. You need clean breaks.
Well, this is the thing, right? I think for Gavi 2, things are, I want to say, generally pretty simplistic, right? I mean, generally speaking, A is the easier point to take, so you'll want to go for that one first, and then go for B afterwards. You know, if I will say one thing, which is Texas Nation, their defense in those terms is sublime. You know, on both occasions where Team Raw managed to break A first and then went for B, Texas Nation basically survived a whole couple of minutes in that position on the defense. Although that is the play of the game for me. Kismet towards the end of the round. It's a beautiful play with the streak. I gotta say, although they kind of burned through both streaks, and I think that is the one thing that maybe Raw will be happy with. Yes, they lost the clutch moment, but they did burn through both of those streaks. Colin, here is our stat board at the end of game number 3. Of course, you know, standing out, I think, across the board. Nobody really stands out to me as the player. Maybe Paul X and Gravity here, 26 and 25 kills apiece, 19 deaths each. Those are pretty good stat lines from them. But overall, Team Raw did pretty good as a roster there.
As a collective, it's what I was hoping to see. You know, it's what I've been looking for out of the squad. And you know that they have the skill to do it. They've been around Call of Duty competitive for a very long time. So it's just how long do they weather the storm before they find it? Well, Gava2 was their door open. So you lose it on map 1, you lose it on map 2, and this is the start of what needs to be a reverse sweep against Texas Nation, the #1 team outside of the cups right now. So Texas Nation, they win that Gava2 hardpoint 250 to 195. Could have been a 250 to 120 if General didn't TC, and then they move over to Berlin and they get the job done. Sitting 5-1, they pick up a few of the last rounds, but they finish it 6-3. Move over to Gava2, and I mean, defense reigns true. Team Raw keep themselves alive. Tuscan coming up next. And when you kind of look at Gava2 compared to Tuscan as a hardpoint map, it becomes a lot more systematic. Your rotations become a lot more important, and the ARs aren't going to be as dominant as a map like Gava2. So this is a good opportunity now for Team Raw to flex that submachine gun role and start to open up the hardpoint rotations, because you saw it on Gava2. A lot of the time, Team Raw, Brody, they were the first team there. They just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the key thing in map number 1 was, again, you know, just a kind of asterisk for those guys at home. Maybe you didn't get to catch map number 1. It wasn't, I mean, it was a 250 to 195 game, but I think in actual respect to how that game was going before General lagged out, and I think it was the Radio Shack hardpoint, it probably would have been a 250 to 120 game. Had he remained in game. Regardless, I think, you know, the reason they were able to win that was just pure slaying ability. You know, there were just so many streaks on board. They just had so much advantage. Team Raw kind of looked like they were running around the map like headless chickens in map number 1. They can't afford to do that here on Tuscan. The one thing I will say, you know, you look at the SMG prowess of a roster such as Team Raw, they should be okay here on Tuscan. This could benefit them if they come out of the gate swinging.
I think the back half of this map set really favors Team Raw, like opposed to the starting half. I think Texas Nation, if you wanted to cleanly shut down this game, you needed to do it inside the control. And now that you've opened up that opportunity for Team Raw to bring themselves back, the back half of this definitely is going to be a troublesome foot. And why is that? Because, like you said, the SMG prowess going into Tuscan, it's definitely going to be showcased a lot more this time around. But the same thing is going to have to be in their minds, that they can't allow streaks to fall in the hands of Texas Nation. They're going to have to really value their lives a lot more on Team Raw, and I think that's definitely possible on Tuscan. I think these players are here. They're warmed up. We saw the consistency on Gavitu, and that has to transition now into Tuscan. They found their way back in. It's just, can they stay there? And I think it's totally doable here. I mean, you look at the like of Jimbo, you know, coming in, that we've highlighted again and again. Now I've highlighted as the X Factor, and he's going to be one of those SMG players. He didn't have the best hardpoint in Gavitu, but no doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to turn this around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going into map number 4 very soon. Not entirely sure what the map will be. It's going to Tuscan Hardpoint. Sorry, my short-term memory, mate, is awful. It's terrible at the moment, but it's Tuscan Hardpoint. Don't worry, I remembered it, guys. Don't worry about it. Going into map number 4. Really excited to get into this one. Of course, we do have a fair few matches going on right now as well. Obviously, 4 matches going at any one point here in Elite during our couple of slots. It's always fun doing these Elite weeks, man. I love them. Challenges Elite is always so fun. Of course, 8 of North America's best teams, and I say 8 of North America's best teams because you could probably make the argument that it isn't the 8 best teams, if only because there are basically 16 teams that compete in North America at any one time. Nonetheless, Elite is always fun. Texas Nation looking for their first Elite victory of the season. Can they find it here? We're going into Tuscan Hardpoint to find out.
There's plenty of teams inside NA that didn't even get to qualify for this. I mean, Team Canada, Real Madrid. You know, there are so many names that I'm surprised that we're not seeing in the elites, but that's just because I think that every year, especially from Cold War into Vanguard now, the competition just keeps getting tighter, and we're seeing that transition here into stage 1. But you're right, let's hop into map 4. Team Raw looking to push us to a map number 5. Tuscan's going to have to be the name of the game, and already quick 12 points right off the bat. Playing for the retake. Texas Nation are on the outside, but they're just not finding the kills they need. Team Raw doing a great job at keeping themselves in.
Good start here from Team Raw overall, but even better start from Brezzy. 4-0 for this man. Someone's got to take him down before he can do any more damage. And, well, that's going to be Paul X going to be able to pick 2 of his own up. Even that, though, is not enough to stop Texas Nation from earning points here in this game. With 14 seconds left, though, Team Raw, they face kind of a bit of a problem here. They've got to kind of traverse the map to get to the other side. That, of course, is where the next hill, and that's where Texas Nation spawned. That is, I guess, the better side of the map.
If you look at the minimap, no external pressure out of Team Raw. Nobody's going with the overextension. Finally, Venom's going to be making that. It's a little bit late to the rotation, so a lot of these players are going to be running it right through Church, trying to take control from behind, set up a systematic pinch with Venom. Here he comes around the platform. Bryce's going to find the opening, shutting down this attack so far. It's a full 3 down. Team Raw, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, but they do get the Church spawn, so Kismet's got to be ready.
Kismet's got to be ready, and ready he is. He will end up falling, but of course the rest of his teammates are going to be around ready to deal with this one. Team Raw going to flip the spawns here for the last 30 seconds of time, and as Gravity and Paul X actually pick up some individual gunfights, Team Raw more than happy to kind of take control of the hill. Now, one of the things we always say here is for Texas Nation, this is kind of one of those points where you need to make a decision, right? Do you even want to push for this? Because at this point, with 20 seconds, you might be better served going for this rotation, Colin.
Yeah, Team Raw are once again going to have to get this break. And this time they're rotating a lot earlier, but they need the scrap time just to stay even with it. Havoc's going to lose the rotation battle. Another player, Brezzy, don't know if they're going to be ready for him to be right around the corner. Venom checks it. It's 3 down in the open and still got the spawns in the back. You are going to have to slay out another 4, but Venom is just on a tear right now. He's on 3 in a row. Gravity on 4 in a row. He does fall, so no streaks coming from either of them. Texas Nation, they weathered the storm, but now it's a race from either side. You get split spawns from both teams.
Wow, Havoc actually picked up 3 over towards rooftops as well. So while that won't be enough to secure the hard point, it will be enough to keep Team Raw out of it for a moment of time. Now, of course, the pressure coming on through from the backline. Once again, it's going to be Havoc and Kismet there. Can they win these gunfights? Gravity on our screens. Can he defend the hard point? That's the question. He's able to pick up 1. We'll have to back away. Now, Venom next up to bat to push this one through. Texas Nation able to get on through for the last 15 seconds unless Paul X can take both of those players out of the hard point. But now we talk about the rotation once again. Huge rotational win for General there as he does take down Jimbo. And now, I mean, what's he rewarded with? Raw spawn close.
Venom taking down Havoc's huge. Is he going to be ready for the next player? No, Brezzy slips in right behind him. So Texas Nation once more looking to win the rotation battle here. Paul X finesses his life. The help of Jimbo comes through. Church is going to be a toss-up here. Still in a little bit of a battle before some team does get control. Brezzy and Kismet locked down too. Texas Nation definitely dominated the feed right now, but here comes Jimbo around the sides, trying to play his life. Texas Nation in control right now, but look at player number 2 setting up for the pinch. Seal comes through. Texas Nation dominating that kill feed. You got 32 seconds. The spawn's coming up in P2 for Team Raw. They're going to have another hit at this, but they need to break soon if they want to turn this into good time.
Now, one more hit left on this for Team Raw. You want to go for it right now, Jimbo. Gravity able to pick up 2 kills now. Paulex with another one as well. What a team effort this has been. Havoc, the last remaining player up. There's another player now coming over from P1. That is going to be Kismet. He will now fall. And finally, Team Raw, they have an iron grip over the hard point. The last 10 seconds or so is all they will get. Now, for Texas Nation, they know where Team Raw are going to be spawning. They know where they're going to have to look here. They spawn up over towards P1. A good escape here from Havoc for a second as he will look to regen while the rest of his teammates take the fights from the front. And here comes Team Raw.
General, around the outside. All angles covered from Texas Nation. Havoc and Kismet, they open up with 2. Still a contention on the inside. 42 seconds here to play for. And you get your utility, you get your nades out, because that's going to be the case to breaking this hill. Team Raw, they do get early time back into this. 30 seconds still to play for. Texas Nation now in. But Paulex, he lines up 3, says nobody's allowed into our command center. We're taking control.
They are Team Raw. This is 20 seconds of time they do not want to give away. Right now, this is an extremely close matchup between Team Raw and Texas Nation. Texas going to lose the lead again once here. Now, I mean, for Team Raw, this is 10 seconds they really want to fight for. They also have to be very careful about the rotation as well. There's a battle going down for that right now as Venom secures it with a nice 3-piece inside the old hard point. Team Raw, additionally, not only did they get scrap time, but they were also winning those first few gunfights over towards P1.
I think luckily for both these squads, Brody, you haven't really given up streaks. You head over this P1, you're not really going to be in too much trouble for the case of above pressure, but Team Raw doing a great job now flipping this lead out, now looking to transfer this P1 hill that very well can be a money hill into a full 60. Texas Nation, they got a pinch flooding, but Venom, again, shuts it down through the middle of the map. Kismet has to go big to win some gunfights, but it's just falling flat on their face. Kismet now last alive. Couple kills go his way, but is going to end up falling to Paulex. He does get a little bit of a dent, though, going, and that's good for Texas Nation.
That's the multi-kill there. You can see it flash up on your screens at home, folks. Kismet going to block out of this hard point for Team Raw. Now, remember, you know, we look at the first set of rotations. It was Texas Nation in control. That might not be the case, though, because one player has actually filtered through on that rotation. That's Jimbo. I think anybody knows where he is. So he is actually going to get spotted out, luckily, for Havoc. So Texas Nation will not lose control of this rotation, but this needs to be a big one for them. They're currently 50 points down. I think, personally, they probably need to hold a full hill there.
I'm surprised. I mean, Brody, every single hill other than P1, Texas Nation have been the first ones here. Venom looking to change that now for the break. Uses the streak to find General. Havoc watching the outside. Trades out Venom. Keeping the numbers in the hands of Texas on the inside. Havoc comes out with a big 2, but trading the other way. Team Raw keeping their foot alive into the contention for this hill. Brezzy to shut them down, though, and Texas Nation doing a great job at just keeping Team Raw boxed out right now. Last player closest is going to be player number 4, Jimbo, and Jimbo does what he needs to keep Texas out of it. Finds a quick 2. Paulex back into the mix, and he takes over.
Paulex able to pick up 2. I said you can't really give up any time if you're Texas Nation on this hard point. They don't really earn that much time themselves. I think 20 seconds is all they're able to really get off the back of it, and they will get the last 5, but this rotation off the back of it will not be given to them. They're going to have to push through the mid-map to get there as Raw spawn up over towards the rooftops. Kismet on our screen is going to wait for his teammates to come on through to that power position up top. Hardpoint rotates over towards Plaza, and the first couple of kills will be going the way of Texas Nation. Raw will spawn up over towards rooftops. Gravity, that's a nice 2-piece from him, but there is still pressure mounting.
You get a deep spawn out for Team Raw. Jimbo has to traverse a long way to get this. This is the first time Team Raw were the first ones to the hill, and this is something they'd like to convert into time, but Texas Nation doing a great job at keeping them out of the time bank. Havoc finds Venom now, opens things up for General to hop on this. A good setup right now for Texas Nation. The last 2 players are going to be flooding in from up top broken. Brezzy shuts down Paulex. Now Texas Nation, a really strong moment, but only 16 seconds left. This is scrap time to pick up right now. My eyes are going to be on Kismet, as he's going to be flooding and taking these spawns for Texas Nation to set up in church.
Not really much has changed in the last couple of hard points, has it? Venom will be shut down there. They need to shut down Jimbo as well. He is 1 kill away from a glide bomb. Of course, we already know that Venom still has a strafing run in the back pocket ready to go. So you do not want to give Jimbo this glide bomb as well. And there you go. Nice shutdown coming in from General. Whether or not he is aware of it, that is a bigger kill than he probably realizes.
Brezzy, watching for the break. Gravity finds General up top. Things starting to unfold for Team Raw's break, but Brezzy finds a big two-piece on a Pollux, and Jimbo is going to close out the front of the hill. 35 seconds to play with. Gravity closest one into the hill, finds Brezzy, relinquishes the pressure inside of Church, but soon to follow is Kismet, keeping the trades going here. Back and forth they go. Red and yellow into the feed. Jimbo finally takes down Havoc. Nobody collecting time for the 20 seconds. You got Team Raw in the back, looking to play for the last little bit of time, but Brezzy making a heads-up play. Paul X works him right now. 14 seconds. You might be looking at Command Center right now, but Kismet wants to take one last chance.
Again, now that lead has been dissipated down to about 45 seconds overall, it still seems like quite a large amount here, especially as Team Raw continue to collect scrap time. Texas Nation in control of the spawns once again for this next hardpoint. Nice two-piece on the minimap coming in from Havoc. Venom looking to play his life, will not be able to. So for Texas Nation, they've got one player inside. Jimbo swiftly comes round and executes him out of the play. General looking to play his life now as well. Team Raw, they've got players coming down from patio. Can they make their exit in pretty quickly? Garrity will end up falling. And now 1v1. It's going to be Brezzy who comes out on top. The pressure not alleviated just yet. That's a huge two-piece from Brezzy, though.
Absolutely monstrous right now from Brezzy coming across the pond to play in NA. Texas Nation break in, stay alive so far in Tuscan. If you're looking at Team Raw, if you want that Game 5, you have to take Tuscan first to see that search and destroy to set up the reverse sweep. So they need 34 seconds to make that happen. And Team Raw, they're going to get the scrap time, but most importantly, they have dominated P1 in the past 2 rotations. So this needs to be where Texas Nation finally find a break if they want to take this Tuscan.
You've got to execute better than that. General will pick up 1 kill before falling, but it doesn't really matter in the end because Brezzy is there to pick up the slack. Now, Team Raw, what do they do here in this situation? They've sent Venom through you. He will pick up 1 before falling. Havoc trying to push the issue inside Church. He will fall, and now everybody from Team Raw here, as that streak comes through from Venom, they're able to get control of the hill, Colin.
Pollux working around. Oh, team nade. Venom's going to shut him down. Havoc slips in the line. Jimbo to shut him down. Jordan around the outside. General's going to be here to try to put some pressure on. Allows Kismet to get in for the Kadesh. 4 go down. Contention's going to be good enough to flip this. 217 to 235. We're headed to another hill. Team Raw's going to be there first.
This needs to be a perfect break coming in from Texas Nation. They basically need to do it now, to be honest, because if not, they'll spawn out over towards Fountain. And there's very little room for error, but there is that wave of kills coming on through. Where do Team Raw spawn? That's the question. They spawn right into the line of fire of Texas Nation. Big gunfights going down now. Brezzy going to pick up the scrap time, but it doesn't really matter. All that matters is these gunfights right here. Kismet, he picks up 1. There's 1 more player there. Gravity falls as well. It's perfect. It's surgical execution coming through from Texas Nation.
Venom needs to go big. He's going to find General. Trying to finesse his life around this pillar. 241 to 235. Paul X in for the count as well. You see the yellow in the feed, though. Brezzy and Havoc are going to take down 2. Nobody in time right now. Venom's going to find General into the platform. Paul X in for some points now. Brezzy on 5 in a row. He's got that glide bomb. He is going to have streaks, but Team Raw, they find 3 in a row. They find the break. You need the streak to go big.
He needs to use the streak right now. Brezzy's going to bring it down. Does it hit the hill in time, though? That's the question. No, it did not. He needed to bring it as soon as he spawned in. He gave it away. Team Raw, they end up winning map number 4, 250 to 242. And we are going to a game number 5. Colin, look, I made a pretty out there statement saying that this would be a 3-0. I did this. It is not a 3-0. Texas Nation, they made an argument for it. They were down by quite a large amount there, I think, towards the end of the second rotation. And, well, they came back into it. It was a good command center hold from them. But, man, Team Raw, they made the right decisions there towards the end. They made sure they had the right spawns. They worked off them perfectly. And wow, just incredible play. You love hard points like that.
Brody, there's a reason why it's taboo that we don't call things early. Our voices, they carry a lot of power. You can't just be saying things, calling it early. This is another possible reverse sweep. 2 series in a row over here on Clutch GG. And honestly, I would have never expected it the way we started this series. We're taking a look at the stats here and look at Havoc on Texas Nation trying to do so much. 40 and 27. 27 of them untraded kills. But you even look over at that average damage per hill. And if you look across the board for Team Raw, 3 players above 300 damage per hill. which is absolutely insane. It just shows the consistency that is starting to unfold over on Team Raw's half of it. We saw it in Gavitu. It transitions over into the Tuscan Hardpoint as well. And now that Team Raw are alive, they're trying to make this reverse sweep happen.
Yeah, indeed they are. I think more importantly as well, you saw the non-trader kills over on Team Raw. You could definitely tell they were being a lot more efficient in the terms of the kills they were getting, you know, working as a team a little bit better. Texas Nation, they felt very individual compared to what we saw on Garvey 2 Hardpoint to kick off this series. That being said, we've got Bakaj to close things out. That will be our map number 5 in this one. Raw are looking to pull off our second reverse sweep of the day here on Clutch. Of course, earlier on, we did see one coming on through over in the European region. That being said, it's looking like an awesome series so far between these two teams. You know, I got to say, big props to Raw for coming back into this series. You know, they've certainly proven me wrong, because what we saw in maps number 1 and 2 wasn't favorable whatsoever. I think, you know, in regard to the Berlin Search and Destroy, which does, of course, relate to the Search and Destroy we're about to see between these two teams. Now, we saw an indomitable Search. It was 2 rounds that we saw coming late in from Team Raw. It was a 5-1 advantage we saw from Texas Nation. So, honestly, I think they looked a lot better in Search and Destroy earlier on. That being said, I think given what we saw in Hardpoint in map number 1 compared to map number 4, I don't know what to think anymore, to be honest. I don't think there is a precedent anymore.
I'm going to play devil's advocate to you. I think that Berlin is going to be completely different to this Bocage right now. I mean, you look at what we highlighted going into that Tuscan, and it's the fact that the SMGs on Team Raw are definitely going to be what takes this team to the next level. And it's been what takes this team to the next level. So when you're looking at Bocage and the opportunity to just butt heads so early into it, allow those SMGs to fly and take control of it. I mean, it's why, like, over in EU, you see Young Galactics so good at making it happen. It's because those SMG players take the chance, take the opportunity to find the routes around the outside of the map, get close into the face and shut things down. And you're going to see it again in this now. Bocage definitely could be something for Team Raw once again to change the pace, try to take it one step at a time, butt heads with Texas Nation. You look back on Berlin, and when they did do that, when Team Raw were able to slip the line, get close and personal, it was Paulex and Venom to constantly open up into this game, and I don't expect that to change here on Bocage.
Well, we shall find out, right? Because Search and Destroy, we're going to see a lot of button heads here on this map. We're about to jump into it between Texas Nation and Team Raw. We already know that Texas Nation can lose series, of course. I mean, they didn't win all of the Challengers Cups. That being said, they did win the last one in Challengers Cup number 4. They were heavy favorites going into qualifiers, but they did end up losing their first attempt at qualification to Bear Claw Esport. Of course, I'm not too sure what is happening right now in the mainstream with that. We're not receiving updates on our end in terms of map sets and such, but regardless, that was going on the mainstream. So very intrigued to see who won between Bear Claw and Path to Pro, or whether or not that series, much like this one, is still ongoing. But back to the point here, of course, Texas Nation, we know they can bleed. We know they lost to Bear Claw Esports. So Team Raw should probably take that as a comforting sign that they could well win this game number 5.
Starting off defense, Team Raw going to be on, but look at Havoc's already slipped the line down deep into the tunnels. This is what I mean. You got to watch out for those sneaky beavers, and Havoc does get caught. Jimbo, with his number, is going to lessen the numbers for Texas Nation. Player with bomb is hinting towards an A hit, but with that player down, they got to get something going early. They got to get it going soon. Here comes Paulex opening the window. Doesn't spot that player, but while this is all happening, Gravity finds Brezzy. It's a 2-life advantage for Raw.
Kismet with the bomb in hand, though. At least there's that to be happy about right now for Kismet in general, right? They don't have to go retrieve that bomb from any particularly bad situations. That being said, it's still a tough situation to be in now. Kismet's going to try and go for a top grandmas. Jimbo's going to escape, though, and that might well be the best chance you have here in this situation if you're Kismet. Texas Nation haven't been able to find an advantage anywhere, and there's only 25 seconds left.
You can't get anything going. You can't get anything at all. Team Raw are doing so good at valuing their lives. 17 seconds remaining. B-side might have to be where you go, but as soon as they peek out, all players, eyes on the last two to shut things down. I talked about a big key role will be that SMG role. Havoc tried to be proactive, tried to escape through tunnels, wrap around there. Jimbo shut that opportunity down, and in turn, it slows everything down from Texas Nation. Kismet so aware that you can't just move into the A site when you don't have that pressure onto Team Raw. And Inser and just the rest of them just were able to pick apart Texas Nation one by one. They couldn't get any attack forming, and now you're going back onto the defense. I mean, Team Raw, they're going to slow things down in their own sight and see if they can fish a first blood once more.
Kismet. Going to be waiting for something right now. Nobody's going to push that, though. Of course, they would be pretty foolhardy, too. Team Raw being patient with this one. They want to see if Texas Nation make any super aggressive moves just yet. Look at Paul X. Look at this angle this guy is trying to find right now. He's trying to find anything. He knows that somebody's probably going to be over towards that tower.
That's so
He would be correct, but it's, I mean, they're right at the back.
Haven't seen anything. No information. Finally, Venom opens up the A site. Players of Texas Nation are here. Nade looks like it's getting cooked from Brezzy. Is he going to let loose? It does. Finds nothing. 32 seconds left. 4 on 4. Finally, the shots ring out, and this is going to get scary for Team Raw. Gravity's going to find General. Bomb getting planted. Texas Nation, they're not finding the kills. It's blowing up in their face.
Jimbo. Oh, Jimbo's just snapped onto Kismet, by the way. Team Raw, they finally enter in. They siege their way into the bomb site. Texas Nation quaking in their boots. Didn't even get a kill.
There's a strat to be had in Search and Destroy that you don't normally see in Call of Duty. But in a game mode like this, it is just denying information. And you, especially on Pokash, you don't expect it to happen. But the fact that Team Raw were able to deny information for that long, Texas Nation had no idea what happened. By the time it does come through and they try to take the gunfights, Team Raw are in such a comfortable position to shut things down.
Well, finally, someone gets a kill on the board for Texas Nation. It only takes 3 rounds in, but Havoc has put a stop to Jimbo. Gravity's the player you want to be concerned about at the moment. He has 3 kills in a row. Need to take him down. Paulex will fall, and that's the aggression I think that Texas Nation were kind of waiting on in those prior rounds, and it has paid off this time around as finally it is Venom and Gravity now left up in a 2 versus 3. Make that a 2 versus 2, though, as Havoc. He gets overzealous this time and will fall.
Bomb hasn't yet made it to A again. Texas Nation having trouble finding a bomb site of choice. Venoms finds Generals. That's bombed down again. Brezzy deep in enemy territory. 43 seconds left. You play this quiet enough, you might be able to get the timing right, but both players in Team Raw side by side in a good position to trade this out. Brezzy flips the map once more on a full rotation. It's a guessing game from Team Raw where Brezzy's going to come through, but it's more importantly, Brezzy, as soon as you get into the A site, you have no idea what's waiting for you on the other side of the door.
Picks up that bomb. Team Raw. Well, no. Just a matter of time now. Brezzy's going to try and get this bomb down, but that is a foolhardy plan, Brezzy. Team Raw will take that any day of the week, and this has just been a highly successful search and destroy. 2v3, by the way, as well.
What do you like? There's not a lot you could do in Brezzy's situation there. I mean, you saw the way that Texas Nation were playing that, and as soon as Brezzy is in a 1v2 in that position, I would have liked to see him put a little bit more pressure. You get the information from General that where at least one of those players are, try to trade it out. I mean, the least you could do is line up both of them, but it doesn't work this time around. They're going to put all gamble onto the A side, and look at Gravity set up waiting for him.
Wow, this is an indomitable search and destroy so far from Team Raw. It's just General left up in a 1 versus 4. He's actually got both kills, but I think they're where he is. It's highly unlikely that he's going to be able to do this. General snaps, not a 1v4. Okay, no. There we go. Almost cast a cursed it again, but yeah, General in a 1 versus 4 makes it possible, but I think when you're facing down 2 players like that again, your gun can only ever aim in one direction.
Absolutely insane right now at Team Raw. 4 rounds in a row. They're making work right now of the search and destroy. The rhythm, it's in their favor, and Texas Nation just don't have an answer. I'd like to see them, I mean, even on attack, I would like to see them try to gamble a bomb site. They have yet to make a successful push to A or B. They need to try something. And now that you've let streaks in the hands of Gravity, it's just going to make this even harder.
This is the player you need to shut down. He's got 7 kills in a row here, having an incredible game number 5. Team Raw. What a search and destroy this has been. Once again, they have the advantage early on in round number 5 as well. Texas Nation, what do you even do here, Colin?
We can't do anything. You can't do anything at all. You're boxed out of A. You're boxed out of B. If you go to B, you got Shrakes to worry about. If you go to A, there's players just dominating the kill feed. You're down by 2 again. They try to make a hit to A. It does work out. They find Gravity finally shutting him down, but Kismet last alive. They know exactly where he is, and they find the kills. They find the trades. Team Raw, again, just winning in the gunfights, winning in the one-on-ones, and Texas Nation, they can't win those first bloods. They're dropping lives too early, and they're just too indecisive on Bokosh.
Wow. 5-0. We're on the agency watch as Kismet currently 0-5. Not a kill to his name. The rest of the squad not having a hot game either. I mean, there really is no way nice to put this, to be honest. Team Raw, what a way this is to come back, isn't it? 5-0 in the search and destroy. We need a full sale now from Texas.
I can't see that happening right now. They need something crazy. Kismet 0-5. Gravity's going to let a Shriek loose. Runs it right into the roof of Grandma's. Allows, though, for an early plant towards B. This is going to be a 4-4 for the setup. And you still have that Shriek to play with.
Oh, General putting the shots in. It's not really going to make any difference, especially as General will now. They'll know where he is. General, my General. You are in trouble, my friend. Team Raw. Pull off the reverse sweep. How about that one for size? 6-0 in game number 5 as well. Yeah, we should have like an alert or something, I think, for like a reverse sweep or for a 6-0. I think either way, Team Raw should be celebrated for that because that is incredible. Just what an incredible game on Bokosh.
I mean, it was a 6-0. Who would have thought this a reverse sweep? That looks like it was a 3-0 sweep in the series from Team Raw. And technically it was, you know, but just they had to do it in the second half of the series. I mean, that was dominance from start to finish inside Bokosh. I expected it with the pacing that we're seeing from Team Raw. It doesn't favor you on Gavitu. It doesn't favor you whatsoever in the Hardpoint. On Berlin, it's just too systematic of a map to try to get that aggression in your hands. But when it's thrown out the window, when you got Bokosh and Team Raw being a most notably submachine gun team, you are going to have Gravity watching you from behind, allowing those subs to just fly in. Gravity finding opening bloods 4 times in that series. The first bloods were just allowing the rest of the team to just take over. Jimbo struggled at the start of the series, but he ends with flying colors, 7-2. Everybody turned up after that control for Team Raw, and they were doing work to make this reverse sweep happen. Welcome to the lead stage. What a way to start it off.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk so much on how many layers this is an upset, of course. Texas Nation, they come in to Elite Qualifiers as the #1 seed. They'd already been upset, by the way, by Bear Claw Esports. If you guys tuned into the qualifier, well, that was just an incredible matchup to watch. Texas Nation, though, I think from that point onwards, generally speaking, when you see kind of upsets like that happening, you view them almost as a reality check, right? That, hey, look, this is going to ground the team before they get into Elite, and then they should be fine. That didn't happen for Texas Nation. The first match of Elite, they lose to Team Raw, who massive props to them. Looking at this roster, of course, Gravity, Paulex, Jimbo, and Venom. They are starting hot here in stage 1. Ooh, what a start to North America, Colin. I'm
You got the finish to EU going game 5 reverse sweep, and you got to start North America. Maybe you bring it to the broadcast. Did you call it early too on the EU side as well?
I would be stupid enough to do that, to be fair. So look,
okay,
I'll make one promise, which is to say I'll never break the cardinal sin of casting again, ever. I'll never do it. Anyway, regardless, 3-2 to Team Raw. Congratulations to them. They walk away with a victory in the first Elite Series here for North America for Stage 1. That is going to be, I think, our first set of matches done and dusted. I think everybody is basically done. I'll wait for confirmation on that, just to be clear. However, I think probably the best idea then will be to send to a break in just a second. However, thoughts so far, Colin? I mean, our first match of the day, Team Raw, 3-2 against Texas Nation. This surely sets the stage here.
Surely, I mean, that is upset central for this whole side. You said it already prior. You've hinted towards it. And Pat the Pro coming up next on this Texas Nation squad. Pat the Pro won 3-1 in their series earlier. So you're coming into a Texas Nation that might be a little bit scrambled after losing a reverse sweep like that. And you might be in a comfortable position. If you're Path to Pro, Texas Nation, they need to regain. They need to find their mental coming back into their next game, because this is not the way you wanted to start your elite stage.
No, it's not at all the way you wanted to start your elite stage. I think for Texas Nation, they'll be extremely kind of frustrated that this even happened, because they were 2-0 up. We've got to think about how they started the series as well. Like, they came out of the gate like, who even is Team Raw? Like, what is this team doing in my game of Call of Duty? That's the way they played that. And just from there on out, what happened? What happened? That's what you call a
They let 'em
breakdown.
in.
I think the cool kids call that a breakdown. I'm not entirely sure though. Maybe I'm incorrect on that fact. Regardless, that's going to be our first match of the day done and dusted. That's surely going to affect Texas Nation going into the second. As you say, they face Path to Pro next, and that is what we are going to have on our stream next. We're going to go to a quick break. When we return, we're going to have some more Call of Duty for you guys. And welcome back, everybody, here to the Challenges broadcast brought to you by Clutch. We're covering additional matches here alongside the main broadcast over at youtube.com/COD Challenges. And if you're just joining us, you're hearing the sound, the voice of myself, Infinity, joined by Seymour, my good old Canadian friend. Colin, we're jumping into our second set of matches here for North America, and we're kicking things off with a mollywhopping between 18 and Cracked and Bearclaw. You might as well have not turned up here to this half, it would seem.
You know, I was excited. I was excited to see Bearclaw happen. You know, this team has a high skill ceiling, but 18 and Cracked, there is a reason why this team hasn't dropped out of top 4 in the cups. It's because right now what you're seeing, finally a resurgence from Bearclaw early into this first hill, but I mean, you look 185 to 50. They have a tall mountain to climb, which needs to start in this hill 1. Classic setting up for the break is going to find one on in. 18 and Cracked, they have their toes now inside this hill number 1, and follow-up Shawnee just cements it.
So far, this has been sublime from 18 and Cracked. They aren't going to get control of the hill for now. That's 15 seconds of time, though. It doesn't really mean all that much in the grand scheme of things. Bearclaw at the moment, I mean, yeah, they'll get the scrap time, but it's going to be already about, more than anything, breaking this rotation that 18 and Cracked currently have sat in their locker. Classic and Shawnee able to combine for a 2. Exceed follows up with another one of his own, and 18 and Cracked in a really great position here in terms of this game.
They flip things out. Now Bearclaws have to push from back antenna. Classic's going to be here on the front line. Spots him out. Dips on into the inside. Well, he doesn't know what's ready for him, and it's Classic. Alongside Exceed. Streak's going to come out. Noisy does trade this through, but still 18 and Cracked are able to get back into this hill. Start collecting this time. 210 to 70 playing for the 100-point club right now. Still all red in the kill feed as Bearclaws, they just can't get anything going right now. And Gavitu, you might be looking to map 2 right now, as I thought that early game we saw between Texas Nation and Team Raw looked bad, but right now 18 and Cracked, they don't look like they could get broken.
Yeah, indeed they don't. You know, this is not a good showing here from Bearclaw right out of the gate. At least no one's getting completely stomped. It seems just like a respectable case of 18 and Cracked coming out, outslaying, outstreaking him, especially Classic, by the way. He was 24 and 12. He's having an excellent game here as they look for the last 5 seconds. The entire squad is, to be honest. I'd rather not just point out one player, but everyone having a good go of things here. Colin, they just need 5 seconds of time. That is basically one break at this point as Exceed picks 2 kills up over towards the anti-A gun. I mean, Welly, inside the boat, trying to provide all the cover that Bearclaw could possibly want.
You know, Bearclaw, they have a good setup right now, but, I mean, 18 and Cracked, they have the streak stacked up. Classic's just waiting for the break. Kills come through. 28 and 12, and quite the showing. He's going to hop in. Last little bit of contention for the Bearclaws. Big nade from Classic, but a team stun from Mochilla is going to take down Noisy. Now sieging out this hill. Assault's going to hop on in. Still not able to lock it down. Welly does shut down that player, but still 18 and Cracked throwing their body out here. Shawnee's going to finally find that last kill, and it should put this away. No, Mochilla drawing this on even longer. The rotation, though, you look at the mini-map, and no matter what you do right now, Bearclaw, 18 and Cracked, they're going to shut this down into the hill 4.
Ain't nobody on this Bearclaw roster got a teleporting device on this map. Nobody's got a TARDIS, and 18 and Cracked we're gonna finish off map number 1. 252-85. That is a great scoreline to kick things off for the second set of series. Of course, 18 and Cracked, they will definitely want to win this one, down to the fact, of course, that they did end up losing their first series of the day versus whatever it takes. But as far as map number 1 goes, they can walk away pretty happy, especially Classic, by the way. He walks away with 28 kills to his name, 14 deaths, having a hell of a go of things.
And this is a good segue now to bring it to our main matchup, Texas Nation and Path to Pro going head-to-head in this series. You know, it's big because Bearclaw just went up against Path to Pro, and Path to Pro beat them 3-1. So when you look at the Bearclaw roster and what's been showing, Path to Pro made some work with them. 3-1 victories, pretty seamless in their own rights. I mean, your previous Cold War Challenger champions over there on that end. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough road for Texas Nation. I know that they're coming in at the number 1 spot, but now you're going up against Path to Pro, who look really hot right now in the Elite Stage 1. This is going to be a tough one. You have one team coming off of a secure victory and Texas Nation coming off of a reverse sweep loss.
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about the context of these two teams then, coming not just into these matches, but also into today. Of course, we did get a chance to talk about Texas Nation very briefly earlier on. So just to give you guys kind of a rundown of where this roster sits, of course, coming into Challengers Elite Stage 1, they are the #1 seed. Although, despite winning Cup #4, that didn't necessarily help them going to the qualifier, right? Yes, eventually they qualified, but they had to beat literally the other toughest team to do it. They knocked out Real Madrid in a shocking exit for that roster. And of course, the only reason because of that was the fact that Bear Claw took them out in the upper bracket for that qualifier. Texas Nation, though, I think more shockingly, did just lose their first series of the day, as you say, Colin. So that is a little talk about Texas Nation. But now let's focus here on Path to Pro. This roster, you know, incredible team. They are 3/4 of the team which won North American Finals last year.
Yeah, I mean, Nato earlier taking a little bit of a hiatus from Challengers and now coming into this one, this Path to Pro roster, looking to hit new levels. You got Yeez taking that place in Mohawk, Spart, Pro Loot. You know, that trio, like you say, I mean, they are a fantastic roster. You got Yeez, you know, already substitute in the Pro League. You got Spart, substitute in the Pro League. And Pro Loot and Mohawk, who definitely could be making cases to be substitutes or even in the Pro League themselves. I mean, all these players are tough to go up against. And the fact that you're looking at Texas Nation as, you know, the #1 team going into this, well, you highlight teams like Path to Pro now, and it goes to show just how close North America is in skill levels. That any day, it's a day-to-day game, Call of Duty, and any day, one of these teams in North America could be on top.
I think that's just pays testament just how good these rosters in North America actually are. You know, I think you compare the two regions this year comparatively to last year. I think Europe was a lot more competitive last year. I think there's a fair few players where they've been kind of brought up towards the CDL, looking at rosters such as the London Royal Ravens or maybe the Toronto Ultra, or maybe they've just decided to sort of take a bit of time away from playing competitive Call of Duty. North America, I think, is certainly the more competitive region of the two this year, and we've already seen that play out. Already in the qualifier or in the first four Challengers Cups, it's been highly competitive. Now, though, we move into this one. We're going to be seeing Path to Pro going head-to-head with Texas Nation.
They are Yeez. Big one-on-one here. General splits the odds, and Texas Nation looking to bounce back in the mental game right now after that reverse sweep loss. But Spart lines up to break into this artillery hill. It is going to be early time now to the likes of Path to Pro. As you're sieging the beaches now, and Texas Nation struggling to get from point A to point B and cross to the openness. That is this hill. Havoc splitting through the middle of the map. Let's see if he can break on in. A couple kills of Texas. Contest is going to be there and overwhelming the pressure. Kismet locks down the rotations. Texas Nation, they find a good break.
Texas Nation, of course, having a good start here in terms of getting that scrap time, but now, of course, it's all about the rotation towards the new hardpoint. Path to Pro are technically over here already. Mohawk going to get some more kills. He will pick the first one, looking for a second against Brezzy. Will not find it as Brezzy actually ends up taking down Spark. And a nice double coming in from Kismet. Nice triple coming in from Kismet, actually, is going to wipe these players away momentarily. Texas Nation will now face down these players as he pushes down that rock side.
Kismet, no stranger to turning up on Gavitu. We saw that control clutch that he had earlier. Right now, bringing his team in here, 5-4. Brezzy locking down the hill, 5 in a row. He's going to get a glide bomb. See if he can lock down that strafing run as well. Shots are going to be good, but not able to walk away with the kill just yet. Still fighting back and forth. Are these squads as Texas Nation? They push their lead to 20. Brezzy on the inside. Havoc locks down 2, winning the gunfights for Brezzy. Kismet, again, focusing on the rotations here. Texas Nation having a flawless rotation to P3.
Indeed, this is a really good opportunity here for Texas Nation to blow this game wide open in this one. Reminder for you folks at home, of course, the last match we just saw was between Texas Nation and Team Raw, and that didn't end well for Texas Nation. You got to remember the fact that Texas Nation did actually come out on top in that game. It was a Gov 2-2 hardpoint. That was game number 1. 250 to 195, but it could have been a lot more indomitable had General not lagged out the game. They looked really, really good on this map mode combination, so maybe they could do the same thing again here as we move towards the new rotation. For now, though, Texas Nation seems to put quite a bit of emphasis onto the AA gun. They've actually lost control of the hardpoint.
Yes, they do. Kismet trying to double back and help it out, but Mohawk locking things down on the cross. AA gun occupied by Texas Nation. Brezzy's going to find Pro Loot. Havoc doubles down onto Mohawk. It looks like he's bringing out a triple AR setup for the team. 28 seconds to play for. It looks like Texas, they do not want to give this up, but trying to break this hill is going to be tough. Brezzy invests the strafing run. Is going to get ease out of it. 21 seconds. Havoc's going to hop on in for time. You look at the spawn still here for Path to Pro. They're going to send some players to shut this down for the scrap on Brezzy. Going to be here, but Brezzy on 4 in a row. These players aren't careful. Might be giving up another glide bomb. Bryzy in there. Glide bomb's going to be in hand. Mohawk around the outside, but luckily Spart's there to help him out. Bryzy not going to get another strafing run, but he does lock down a glide bomb.
The glide bomb now ready to go. Although we're looking over towards this Hardpoint, Texas Nation got the rotation in tow once again here. Spartan Proly looking to assault the beach. Unfortunately, both of them will fall, and Mohawk not that far off as well. That was a very one-dimensional attack coming out from Path to Pro. Seemed a little bit aimless, but it doesn't really matter too much anyway, as they now will spawn up over towards the rock side. You can see these gunfights going down once again on the mini-map here as Mohawk and co look to assault this point, Colin.
Spartan on the inside. Shots are good. A little bit of help from Mohawk as well. They break on in. Bryzy looking to the skies after that one, but seamless. Path to Pro back in control. You look at the mini-map and you still see the spawns from Texas Nation. They're going to be in the back, and looks like Path to Pro, they're aware of this. They are going to take their attention into the back. Bryzy lines up 2. Bryzy lines up 3 and single-handedly breaks the hill.
Yeah, Bryzy, nice three-piece from him. 18-5 start for that man. He is showing how valuable he can be to this roster. Of course, spent all of last season in the European region. Now, though, he's come over towards North America once again to team with his old Enigma 6 partners. And now this roster, we're going to do well here on Gavu to Hardpoint. Now it's going to be Path to Pro inside the Hardpoint, though. They've got control of the bathhouse, or the boathouse, sorry. And for Texas Nation on the boat, and they're looking to do all the damage they can with the automatons. Now looking to try and get in as well. Kismet and Havoc picking up those first couple of buds. There's players inside again, the boathouse that they need to deal with. And I tell you what, Kismet doing a great job of dealing with them.
Oh, he is. I mean, this is fantastic out of Texas Nation. They're not just focusing on the hill, but they're focusing at slaying on the way around. So inside of things, nobody collecting time. Bryzy looking to slowly finesse his way on top. Snaps over to Spart. Trade comes through, but it's majority to the way of Texas Nation. 128 to 83. Still 15 seconds of scrap time. And you look at the minimap, and Texas Nation just so heads up at rotating through this map and dominating the rotations.
They are Texas Nation now going to move over towards that next rotation. They get the scrap time off the last, and there are 60 points in the lead as it currently stands. Can they hold on to the new rotation? That is going to be the question here. Can Path to Pro more aptly break on through? Well, they do get the first couple of kills in their favor, and Mohawk and Yi is going to be responsible for that. Now Kismet, can he try to break on through? Switches over towards the pistol for the first kill, and looking over towards Spart around the outside, trying to cause problems here for the opposition, but it will be Texas Nation coming out on top. Havoc with a nice second kill there against Mohawk. That's 3 in a row for this man, and it will be Texas Nation who come out on top of the pile.
Everybody flooding on in now for Path to Pro. Bryzy knows that. Swings onto Yi's. Mohawk to fall as well. Path to Pro struggling at breaking this hill again in the second set of rotation, and that's just because Texas Nation are so good at collapsing on the majority of players. And you look at this setup now, Path to Pro, they need to put some emphasis on the rotations here. They need to just put a thorn in this setup and try to deter Texas Nation. It's just not happening. And finally, Path to Pro, they are going to overwhelm General and Bryzy. This is the first time we're going to see them get initial time early into this rotation. Let's see if they can hold on.
Now, Path to Pro at the moment, they are in that hard point. Again, this is a good opportunity for them to kind of come back into this game. If the whole 50 seconds would do quite nicely, wouldn't it, for this roster. A nicely placed nade, though, from Havoc will land right at the feet of Mohawk to take him out of the play. Now, Prolute and Spark going to come out and get some kills of their own. Path to Pro slowly losing the grip over this hard point, especially as Texas Nation going to be spawning over towards that boathouse. They will need to be careful here, and this is exactly why Texas Nation able to string together a wave of kills in their favor. And now, perhaps more menacingly here, Texas Nation, not only do they have control of this hard point as it currently stands, they have control of the better side of the map for the next rotation.
This Texas Nation squad is so good on Gava, too. It's the AR presence that we're seeing from them lead the way as well. Kismet's going to invest the streaks for the rotation. Yeez gets taken down. General's going to have an easy job at re-aggressing into this hill once it does pop. 210 to 117, all yellow in the kill feed. As this is Texas Nation, this is their chance to put this away. Here, another streak. Bryzy this time. Nobody can even get close to the artillery gun. What are you supposed to do if you're Path to Pro when you're just spawning across the map? Another streak.
Yeah, here comes another streak, as you say, Colin, mate. Kismet bringing that one down. This is what happens when you really start to get the momentum in your favor. Havoc now on the A-gun, really looking to put the nail in the coffin here in this game number 1. I think that might well be what ends up happening. There's well enough time for Texas Nation to finish it right here. I think Path to Pro probably realize it at this point and are just looking to get some final kills on the board, but it won't matter. Colin, Texas Nation, They started well in their last series on this very map. They're doing the same thing once again here.
Look, this is only the second match of the NA Elite stage. If you're going up against Texas Nation, just veto out Gavitu Hardpoint. Just veto this map out because they don't look like they can lose here. Another dominating win. You don't lose out on general, and what's the case? You get that 250 to 120 win that you missed out in your previous matchup, and it's just showcasing how good Texas Nation are good in the assault rifle role. The fact that they're making the heads-up awareness to rotate early, and when they do, they get set up on those power positions, and nobody can touch them when that happens. It's systematic from Texas Nation. They know how to play Gavitu, and you just don't want to go head-to-head with them there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. These coaches now are definitely in at Gavitu when they're playing against Texas Nation thinking, nope, absolutely not. We look at the stat lines, though, at the end of game number 1. Shocker, Brezzy sitting atop the pile at 29 and 12 for Texas Nation. 26 of those kills, by the way, untraded. And that's a definition of untradeable there for Brezzy in that game. And the next one down, Kismet, 24 and 13, 18 of his kills were untraded. Havoc 22 and 15, 17 of his kills were untraded. On the other hand here, I think we're looking at a Path to Pro squad that were really struggling. I think that much is abundantly clear. With the highest streak they got between them was 3 kills in a row, and that was Yeez.
I mean, the stats speak for themselves. You highlighted Brezzy earlier, and he's been doing fantastic for the squad. Like you said, I mean, 4/5 of the Enigma 6 roster from before. I think they're just missing out on, what, Frosty? Was it? Who topped off this roster back in BO4, so. and now, you know, you're coming back to life in Vanguard, and they look solid in certain maps. The only thing is that worries about me is the longevity of them. But this time around, when you look at the map set, Tuscan Search and Destroy, Tuscan Control, then double dose of Berlin to finish this off, you don't really get to play for that late game. You kind of have to take it to them early. Texas Nation, they didn't have a bad Tuscan Hardpoint, but we never got to see them on Tuscan Search and Tuscan Control. So when you're looking at this match, you don't get that Gavitu control that you kind of failed to pick up in last time around, and your offense didn't look that good on Gavitu. So I'm happy that I'm seeing them now go to Tuscan. Gavitu didn't look that good for them. In fact, it was clutch plays that needed to win out certain rounds. Highlight Kismet in that one round to force them to that round 5. But their attacks now, it's definitely going to be a lot different moving into that control. And their Search and Destroy on Berlin looked good. Bocage, not that much. Now you go to Tuscan, we just get to see this team on a different map. So we're kind of getting to see more out of Texas Nation. So this is a big change that I like to see.
Yeah, I think the thing looking at that control, which we'll talk about more in extent before we get into that one after map number 2, right? I think the thing is with that Tuscan control is that the thing that went wrong for Texas Nation going into the first control they played in that last series was a matter of fact that they were just splitting their attacks too heavily. I think they can't do that on Tuscan really, because you kind of need to take A before you go for B. Like going straight for B is a Hail Mary play that very rarely works out. If only ever, it's just to try and get one progression to make it easier on yourself later down the line. Tuscan is pretty linear in how you play it, right? You get your butts onto A, you get that point, then you move on to B, and that's where the real fight goes down. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that map. For now, though, we concentrate on Tuscan Search and Destroy. That is going to be the next map in our series between these two teams. Search and Destroy, bit of a mixed bag, I think, for this Texas Nation squad. We did just see them get 6-0'd on Bocage Search and Destroy, so they're probably not feeling too hot off the back of that. But I think now that they've won that hard point, they go to, I think that's definitely going to wipe the slate clean, at least in their minds.
You know, it doesn't worry me too much that they lost 6-0 in Bocage, because I highlighted their Berlin Search and Destroy from last series, and they won 6-3. They were up 5-1, in fact, in it. And Berlin and Tuscan are a lot more straightforward. They're a lot more play heavy if you have to kind of make a smart strategic adjustment mid-round, where you don't get that in Bocage. It's just butting heads with the other team. So you move over to Tuscan, you're allowed to flex your brain a little bit instead of flexing your muscles. And I think Texas Nation, with the amount of veteranship we see inside them, I think that this is going to be just another situation where they're not going to struggle like Bocage, but they're going to have definitely a lot better of a map inside this. That Berlin Search and Destroy, it definitely looked pretty simple for them in the fact of taking sites and then strategically locking down a post plant I think you could see that happen a lot inside the Search and Destroy, but I'm curious in the long run of this. In Search and Destroy in this, how are they going to handle the map? How are they going to overextend and get around things? Because it's going to tell a lot for moving into the control.
One thing I really am looking forward to is seeing a sniper rifle play coming out from both of these two teams. And there it is right at the gate. Brezzy with a sniper takes down Spart. Kismet and Havoc follow up with kills of their own. Look at this push from Texas Nation right out the gate. We said we don't really often see this. Pushes towards B, and it doesn't even get the bomb down straight away. Texas Nation, that aggression right there pays off in dividends.
Well, you know, teams time and time again, they go to A right off the bat. Try to get a quick plant set up for it. You do see a gamble come this time around, and they're like, hey, I'm sure they expect us to go to A. Every team does it. Let's go to B this time around. Let's win the gunfight. Send Brezzy over down with that sniper. See if you can find the opening pick and draw even more players from Path to Pro. And kind of throw a wrench in it. And they do, and it works out. So it's a big gamble that pays off because it's the early game. Now, I'm sure Path to Pro will make adjustments later on so that doesn't happen. But now Texas Nation swapping over the defense, and Path to Pro want to run it down mid.
Really looking to get this bomb down. He surely will do uncontested hit. Stuns or not. And now it's going to be a case of Texas Nation trying to get on through and retake this site. Of course, Spart will be there watching it like an eagle. The Automaton up top for a Mohawk. This is really the position you want to worry about if you're a Texas Nation. They will spend quite a lot of effort making sure they're removing from the play.
25 seconds to make something happen. Yeez draws first blood for Path to Pro. Solidifying this post plant. Even more pro loot shuts down the flank. Havoc drops, so now Mohawk a little bit more comfortable watching up top. You got General still in behind lurking, but no chance to take Mohawk down inside. General's going to have to make a play. You're going to have to trust that your player's going to watch over you. Finds the big kill on the Spart now. Chance to hop this bomb. Mohawk's watching, but there's just no time whatsoever. Path to Pro, they weather the storm, and they are going to tie us up.
There is a cloud here, a silver lining in the cloud for Texas Nation. We do see Brezzy pick up 2 kills towards the back half of that round. That means that he'll be 4-0, 1 kill away from a glide bomb. You can bet your bottom dollar here that Texas Nation will play around that as we go into round number 3. Now, last time around, they kind of set things up, maybe not how Path to Pro expected them to go. They ran straight towards the B bomb site. That's completely abnormal for a map here, such as Tuscan. Do they go back to regular old A, regular old Joe? I think that is going to be the answer as Prolute throws a nade out. General, though, elsewhere has actually drawn that first blood.
Smoke from Prolute. Maybe wants to take this fight to Kismet. He does, but Kismet! Oh my! What a win there. Prolute gets worked. Players dropping, and it's flawless out of Texas Nation. I talked about how important that round 1 play was to throw a wrench in the system that is Tuscan. Go to B early because you see Path to Pro forced to make adjustments so early on. They're spread thin. The typical A play comes through, and the smoke play from Prolute just does not make anything happen. So Texas Nation now, they're playing the mental game of Tuscan, and Path to Pro don't know what's happening next.
This is crazy right now. Texas Nation in such a good spot, even though they're only 2-1 up. You're absolutely right. The metal game is pretty good for them in this position. Stuns, though, coming out early on in this round. Yee's trying to cross the mid-map alongside teammates, and they're doing what they did on their own offensive round, is getting to that A-bomb as quick as humanly possible. Prolute, though, not going to get the bomb down just yet, and now he's going to do it. He has the help of Yee's in the mid-map. Now the question is, how quickly did Texas react?
You see 2 players looking to overextend for Texas Nation through Hill 5. Yeez is going to be looking for information through the middle of the map. Post plant was strong, but you had Mohawk top broken. This time around, you aren't going to have that insurance play. Instead, Yeez in the middle finds 2 on Kismet. Not going to win the fight onto Brezzy. The trade comes through, but the damage has been done. Brezzy, 5 in a row. Glide bomb. Not sure if we're going to see that into this round. Shots to the wall are good. Can't lock down the kill. 15 seconds left to make this happen as the time is dwindling. You're going to have to make a shot at this. General finds Mohawk. Brezzy a second. Somebody has to hop this. General, the trust game's going to be here. Prolute, can he make the play? Prolute's going to find 1 and the quick kill onto the defuse. So Path to Pro, again, another successful hit to A.
Yeah, the thing is, if Brezzy doesn't get that first kill against Spart, this whole play becomes an entirely different kettle of fish, right? Because of the fact that, obviously, he is still technically playing for that strafing run then, and maybe he doesn't make the Hail Mary play of just running out to the mid-map. That is exactly what he does. Of course, General jumps on the bomb, and nonetheless, Prolute, as soon as he takes down the first player, well, the second General's probably going to fall in quick succession. But that is a win, I think, for Brezzy on all accounts. Yes, they do lose the round, but ultimately, They now have 2 streaks to work with, and the information you gain off those, even if you don't get kills, is huge.
Sniper gonna be backed up this time. Yeez draws first blood. There's a big change now to the defense. Will Brezzy invest a streak? Try to bring the numbers back in the hands of Pat the Pro. You look at Sparty's positioning here. Potential for an overextension. Don't know if anybody's going to be ready for that from Pat the Pro or from Texas Nation, but they are rotating here. Brezzy, don't know if he spotted Sparty. He does. The shots are there, and he shuts it down. Not before Sparty does trade 1-for-1, but damage, it's good, and Pat the Pro are able to shut down and finish off.
And that's what happens, right? Pat the Pro, they get over-aggressive here on the defense. I don't think that they really expected that, Texas Nation. Nicely done from Pat the Pro to really put the pressure on. And now this has definitely changed the situation, of course. See whether or not Texas Nation can come out with a response. Just a reminder for you folks at home, of course, we are not showing the minimap throughout today's broadcast here on Clutch. We generally don't, just down to player request to remove that minimap, especially in search and destroys. However, jumping into this round of S&D, Pat the Pro, look at the aggression coming out of them.
The set nade. Nobody's home. Everybody running through church. Brezzy gets a wake-up call. Spart's the one to put the nail down. And now look at the positioning that they have through the middle of the map. The rest of Texas Nation, they have to surround them from the outsides. They're boxed out. And they need to take these one-on-ones out on an island. General's going to get shut down as well. People falling for Texas. And it's Pat the Pro again in the numbers advantage. Havoc last alive. It's been flawless so far. And they know exactly where he is. Snaps onto Spart. Makes it a 1v3. Bomb's getting planted. So time's going to be against him to make something happen. And I mean, it's a 1v3. What can you really do?
He's going to run right into the air of Mohawk here. There you go. The shot's coming through from Mohawk. That's going to be a round win for Puff Pro. And I love what Puff Pro actually did there in that round. They sent 3 players bottom church. They kind of ran straight through mid-map. And off the back of the play, generally speaking, once you do that, it kind of confuses Texas Nation. It's like, well, where are they going to go? Because you can kind of see General, he turned around to expecting those players to push through and take him out to try and secure that A bomb site. Maybe they go B as well. It's that confusion strategy we were talking about. This time comes from Path to Pro. Works out perfectly. Now that's 3 rounds in a row for these guys. They might be putting streaks together as well. Proloot and Mohawk, both on 3 sprees. Keep an eye on them moving forward, especially as Path to Pro looks to change their strategy up.
Yeah, Path to Pro say, you can play mind games, so can we. Havoc, big one-on-one there. Yeez gets the better of him. That's going to provide an extension for Path to Pro to keep the aggression up now on another defense. Kismet has bomb down low. Gonna bring this back. They check it, and Kismet's gonna crit drop. So Proloop putting that bomb down in a really unfortunate situation for Texas. General's gonna fall. There is a team kill, but I'm sure it's not gonna matter that much.
Yeah, Brezzy 1 versus 3. This is tough. You're looking for it. He's able to get the first kill, but of course the second not far behind. Those guys are running around the map like a caterpillar in a way. And now Path to Pro just 1 search and destroy round away from tying up the series at 1-1. And this is crazy as well, because we talk about how good Brezzy played those early search and destroy rounds. The fact that he still has both streaks in the back pocket. Things have just not gone Texas Nation's way.
I was surprised, you know, if you didn't say it, I was going to. This has been 5 rounds where he's just held on to them. You need to be proactive. You need to let them loose. And there has been opportunities, plenty of them, for Texas Nation to make this play, but missed opportunities again and again. Snipers back out for Brezzy. Hunting down range. Looks like another A attack from Path to Pro, so the sniper definitely can come in handy.
Well, here comes the streak down from Proloot. We said that Texas Nation needed to be careful of it, and even better, they take out Brezzy. That is the play you want to take out of the play. And now Brezzy actually used his. That's why he was standing still in the play. So Spartan now will fall out of the play. Now a 2 versus 2 as Kismet gets the kill onto Yeez.
Use the glide bomb. I got 1 too. Jordan. General hopping on that defuse. Kismet's going to be here for a little bit of insurance. He's going to check it. Yeah, Mohawk's going to be there. Kismet now 1v2. 22 seconds to make this happen to keep his team alive, but there's just too much to deal with. And Path to Pro shut down Texas Nation and take the search and destroy.
How about that for keeping yourselves in the series? Path to Pro, a dominant search and destroy victory, and that is in response to what was a dominant Gabu 2 hardpoint victory for Texas Nation, and that is what you want to see from Path to Pro. I think they quickly realized that, hey, Texas Nation are kind of playing at this speed of play. We'll play a little bit faster. We'll see how they respond to it, and I think as soon as they realized that is what they needed to do to win, Texas Nation, very little response from those guys. What a search and destroy from Path to Pro. I think crucially as well, Brezzy had streaks, right? So he could have used them when he really wanted to. Never really gave him a chance to. You know, every single time Brezzy was maybe in a position to use them, they shut him down. And I don't think they ever really let him get into any kind of position where it was maybe a good idea to use them. So really well played from Buff to Pro. Sorry, they are able to tie the series up, Colin.
And that comes down to the team play. I mean, you need to work around those streaks. You need to set strats to be able to utilize them to the full extent because, I mean, it's just insurance into a round to allow you to just further push your advantage. If we look back at the score lines, what are we looking at? It's a lot of success from Path to Pro, most notably in their first bloods. You can see that they were dominating it time and time again throughout it. I'm sure that a lot of these stats aren't going to be fully true, but you look at Yeez and you look at Proloot. 4 first bloods for each of them. Definitely not going to be possible, but it's going to highlight that they were getting initial kills into rounds for their team, and they were winning a lot of their first initial gunfights in the round. So that means Path to Pro winning their ones early, putting Texas Nation on that back foot. A key on why Brezzy just couldn't bring those streaks out. It's because of the pressure that Proloot and Yeez were putting on and making sure that they were changing things up. You talked about the mental game early on from Texas Nation and how they were doing such a good job at splitting Path to Pro. Well, they did the exact same thing. They were starting to change their attacks. They were starting to throw Texas Nation through a loop and really ultimately question on who's going to make the wild play this time.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see now why Path to Pro are a really good roster overall. You know, again, just to remind you folks at home, this is 3/4 of the team that did end up winning North American Finals in the Black Ops Cold War 2021 season. They are a very, very talented roster, of course, joined by Hughes, who currently sits on the bench of the Florida Mutineers. But regardless, let's take a look then at our map set. You can see it right now. Control on Tuscan. That is where we go next. And it's been a bit of a wild affair so far. Two very different showings between our first two maps, Colin.
You get a dominant Gavitu from Texas. You get a dominant Search and Destroy from Path to Pro. Now, we talk about the parallels from Gavitu control to Tuscan control and the fact that Texas Nation, they didn't look the best on their attacks on Gavitu. Well, it's a hard map to attack. You know, Tuscan allows now for a lot more of variety when it comes to attacking that B site. A site should be captured every single round from either of these teams on attack. But B site, that's the troublesome one. Now, how are these teams going to attack it? Well, with Texas Nation, something I did see from them back on Gavitu is that they were trying to make gamble plays. They were trying to change things up throughout their attacks. Now, it didn't work, but that's because Gavitu is hard to change things up and make those gamble plays with how far you're trying to attack a site from your spawn. But on Tuscan, I mean, you can wrap around Church. You can push through Command Center. You can run it right through Church, in fact, through the side door. There are plenty of avenues to pinch this B side out with your team, and I would like to see Texas Nation just keep on being creative inside the control. Keep on trying to question where Path to Pro have to set up, where they have to look, and if we're looking at Tuscan to be a step up, I think that this is definitely going to be a lot more comfortable for Texas Nation.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and say, actually,
Okay.
I would kind of like to see Texas Nation come out and just brute force their way through. You know, this roster looks like they're at the base when they are just playing kind of mindlessly in a way and just playing to their gun skill because we know they have quite a lot on their roster. You look over towards the Gavitu Hardpoint. Whether or not they realize it, I think that's just what they do really well. I think, you know, looking back to the Gavitu control from series number 1 that we saw earlier on, again, they were splitting their efforts, and although maybe it could just be a case of them kind of finishing that, I don't think it worked out very well in a couple of 3 times. I think that they tried to do it. Concentrate on A, then, you know, just concentrate on T pushing around the back. And you play this as by the book as you can possibly get for Texas Nation, because I don't think you're really going to outsmart a roster like Path to Pro. For Path to Pro, I'm not really sure what to expect from these guys. You know, again, they did actually end up losing that Tuscan control towards Bearclaw in their prior matchup. So, hey, who knows how this is going to go. Either way, I've got a feeling this is going to be a really important map in this series, Colin.
I mean, it's the swing map. If both these teams tied at 1 means that we're going to a map for Berlin Hardpoint after this. But who's going to take this control is the big question mark on it. Who is going to push their advantage into that Hardpoint? Because Texas Nation, if it's them, I mean, you might be looming over a 3-1 victory. And the fact that that Gavitu Hardpoint is very convincing in your own end. But Path to Pro, this almost seems like a must win with how we saw that Gavitu Hardpoint. I know Berlin is a lot different from Gavitu, but the fact that that happened, you don't want to lose out on this control. You don't want to give momentum to Texas Nation going into another respawn, because if that happens, it might be too little too late.
Might be too little too late. Well, this is a swing game. We talk about it. We're moving over towards Tuscan control. This is, again, this is a pretty one-sided affair, as is, to be fair, Gavitu control. I think it's control generally in this game is pretty defensively sided, but especially over here. You're going to find teams moving on towards A pretty much straight away. Generally, right out of the gate is the much easier point to take. If Path to Pro or Texas Nation, whichever one starts off on the offense, if the offensive team gets that first wave of kills onto A, do not be surprised if the defensive team just backs away, doesn't want to pour any more resources into it, because, again, you do not want to go down on live on a map like Tuscan.
No, you don't. It's about time we hop into it, though. Texas Nation on the left, Path to Pro on the right. Starting off with the attack, though, you can see Texas are going to A right off the bat, sending Brezzy to mid to watch the cross. Mohawk to catch his number. He's setting up with the squad to maybe collapse through mid, but General's got his eyes on, already working on the second tick. Texas getting a lot of progress here, so second tick's underway. By the time the collapse comes through, you better shut this down because it's been too late. And no, 4 go down, and Texas are going to get this A site.
Yeez tried to get him from behind to try and stop this point, but it didn't work out. Of course, Texas Nation going to end up winning, and this is what we were talking about, right? As soon as that first wave of kills come through, Path to Pro, they spawn all the way towards the back of the map, and at that point, there's not really any point of pouring any more resources in. You might as well just go and defend B, which is the much more important point to defend overall, the easier point to defend as well. So nice kill coming in from Yeez to kick things off here on the defensive hold. It's going to be a pinstripe kill feed for the moment, but ProLute recognizes there is still danger up top in Church, throws that nade to deal with it, but I don't think he realizes there's probably still players there.
Yeah, he doesn't. Havoc comes swinging, and he wins it. 2 players snacked on this platform. Set nade from Brezzy. We saw this last round. It is going to tag some players up. It's going to force them out. Kismet goes for 1 for 1. And again, pinstripe kill feed, and it's favoring Path to Pro. Texas Nation, they just can't afford to trade out like this because it's already hard enough to get this B site.
Indeed it is, and that's why you're seeing kind of Texas Nation hold up for a second there. Yes, they do end up falling with Brezzy, and General kind of cram to a crashing halt there. They do not want to move any further up for Texas Nation because they will just essentially bleed lives at this point in time. Path to Pro probably feeling pretty comfortable at this point in time, regardless of the fact that Havoc has just picked up 2, and regardless of the fact that Texas Nation do technically speaking have a life advantage. They do have that continuous spawn in the backline to be happy with, but how long is that going to last? Because Texas Nation, they seem to have broken on through and now starting to capture this point.
Mohawk, his attention gets spread. 3 go down for Path to Pro. They're on this side, stopping the clock in a minute. 2, working on that first tick. It is gone now, working on number 2. You still have an Overwatch from teams. Clocked at 1 minute. Here comes Sparta on the corner. Nice shots from Havoc, but the backup is there. Path to Pro are going to deal with the attack right now. They're going to shut things down before a second tick can get captured. Down to 53 seconds, a 4-life lead. Texas Nation now, they got to be careful because time's getting out of their hand.
Time running out here in this one, but it is a 15 versus 11 life advantage. If Texas Nation continue to kind of assault this point, continue to whittle down those lives, they might find themselves in a solid position. Yeez now getting assaulted out of the command center. Nice kill coming in from Kismet General as well. We're going to be watching this from an overhead POV as Yeez was spawning at the back line. You can see ProLute as well looking for these kills. Now it's going to be Havoc and Kismet inside, Prezi as well. And now those players inside looking for these kills. It's like we're kind of casting over the Sims at the moment.
It's almost like, you remember Dead Ops Arcade?
I do remember. I did play a lot of Dead Ops Arcade in Black Ops.
It's almost like we're watching over that right now. 12 seconds left for Texas Nation to make this last play. 5 lives for Path to Pro, and this is very doable for them as well. ProLute's going to make the first play. Kismet not expecting it. Brezzy for the trade. They're going to hop into the hill. Stop the clock at 2.9 seconds, but Sparty's here to break. 2 kills go his way. 1 second left. ProLute has the help of Yeez, and that's going to shut down Texas Nation. Path to Pro, they scrape away.
It's really tough. It's so tough, despite all the pressure there for Texas Nation. You can even tell how hard it is to break onto that B zone because they had a life advantage. They have to wait every single time they lose a couple of players. They, realistically speaking, have to wait. They have to hold off for the rest of the players to come on through. That allows Path to Pro themselves to get back to full strength, and that is why ultimately Path to Pro will win that defensive round. But let's switch over here. Path to Pro now going to the offense. Maybe Texas Nation, for their sake, can have a better go of things here. Maybe they stop Path to Pro from capturing A right out of the game.
Oh, big stun. Brezzy can't take that nade back up top. Nobody's home. Mohawk still watching mid. Blair actually on the cross. Sparty sitting, waiting. A site now being captured. 1 ticket progress already secured. Brezzy from the middle of the map is able to walk away with a big kill, though. Opening things onto the map, but then shut once more by Pat the Pro, flooding on in. It's all Texas coming up through the one side.
It is Texas now looking to put a stop to this one. Path to Pro, I mean, they're actually forcing Texas to try and put a stop to this capture. It is a bit of a bold play coming in from Texas Nation. That's a lot of lives that they do not really want to bleed away, especially when we talk about the conversation around which team will get defense on round number 5. Nonetheless, Texas Nation have done exactly that. And in the process here, they might have actually given Path to Pro a little bit of breathing room in terms of making this rotation over towards B. You've got ProLoot now making the move forward. He will fall, but nonetheless, Path to Pro, I mean, already they're doing pretty well in making this rotation happen.
Spart finds 3 in a row. Almost able to convert that into streaks with a few more, but heads up play. Texas Nation, we're scrambling, but they float. They don't sink right there. General trades that out. ProLoot's still going. Nice shots from General. 2 in a row. Should slow this down from Pat the Pro now with 3 kills going their way. Texas Nation, I would like to see them start pushing for map control. It looks like Kismet, he really wants that, and he's going to take it.
Texas Nation now going to push Path to Pro out. Now look at this. Crucially speaking, General and Kismet have pushed themselves all the way up into Command Center. That will force Path to Pro to spawn all the way up at the very left side of P1. Path to Pro have got a long way, therefore, to travel. As all those kills come on through again, it is going to slow Path to Pro up here with this push. You're not, generally speaking, going to find individual plays, especially as a player spawns up in the alley. I think they just spawned up right next to Spark, by the way, as they try to push through for that ladder. There is one player that they haven't quite dealt with yet, though, Colin. ProLoot is still sitting in the back line.
Yeah, they gotta know ProLoot's missing. 2 players have snuck the line. Texas Kismet needs to double back and help his team out. Because when the kills ring out, it might be a little bit of trouble. Brezzy, Jordan. General's gonna shut down ProLoot. So 2 players from Texas Nation able to shut down Pat the Pro on the inside. Spark trying to finesse his life. He does, but for how long? He's last one alive on the inside of this point. And Havoc's able to shut that one out and sniff him out. So 12 to 10 in lives, 34 seconds. Pat the Pro gonna go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, there's one more push left in this play for Path to Pro, realistically speaking. There's the first kill coming in from Spark. That is going to make this a realistic play. But no, Mohawk takes out ProLoot with a team nade. And now this is going to have to be huge for Spark. He's going to have to go big. Of course, somebody is watching that back line. That is Brezzy. Ready for this push. Brezzy wins that one. Now Mohawk just outside Command Center with the rest of his team. What can he do? Apparently not that much. 1 player left. That's Yeez in the back line. He is actually going to get 1 kill. You've got to imagine the Texas Nation will turn around to deal with him? Potentially? No one's dealt with him yet.
You gotta think. Oh, here it comes. Kismet. And Havoc locks down the 4th. So the time's going to dwindle, and Texas are going to answer back with a defensive round. But I am impressed with what I was seeing out of Texas Nation on that defense. Most notably, Kismet. The way that he was just flying. Covering so much ground on the map. Not really allowing Pat the Pro to breathe. And really, you saw that the one chance that Pat the Pro really had an opportunity, it's when they were all dominating through that A lane all the way deep into the back tank Godheady. And that was their best chance. But then Kismet, you know, with that map control, doubles back, helps the team. And by the time Texas Nation get on that hill, or the time Pat the Pro get on the hill, I mean, Kismet's in behind and he's just slaying out.
All right, well, we do go 1-1 here in this control. Texas Nation want to get control of A as quickly as possible again. That is basically the objective right out the rip. For offensive teams here on Tuscan Control. Of course, ProLoot picking up 2, though. This has been a pretty good start, I think, for Path to Pro. If you look at their map pressure at the moment, the way they're able to cut the map, they have done a good job of keeping Texas Nation away from the point. No longer the case, though, as Texas wiped down 4 players. Path to Pro, unless Mohawk can get one of these kills, I think it's probably best for them to not put any more lives into this.
Oh, ProLoot. Nade connects. Maybe, but it's not. He's just still going to find Kismet. General now. Only one here. He's around the back. Takes down General. Snaps to Brezzy with the help of Sparks. Going to take it. Look at, well, this is happening. Texas Nation. They're going to go to B. Havoc finds Mohawk up top and it opens up the lane. Sparks going to have to go big here.
Yeah, this is the risk, right? But Spartan from behind. I'm sure Texas Nation might be well aware of the fact that someone might be coming in from behind. Spark's taking a long time with it. But no, they have no clue here. It doesn't matter anyways. Mohawk and ProLoot going to win the first engagements from the front. Brezzy able to pick up 1. How much more damage can he do? Apparently not all that much. But Texas Nation right back to it to try and capture zone A. Kismet with 1, Kismet with 2. Nicely done. Texas Nation wipe Path to Pro away. As long as all those players stack the point, that should be A captured.
I mean, it's just immediately the spawns from B. you know, they spawn you up back at A. It's almost like raid control back on Cold War. You just push B, and if you get slayed out, you're just going to spawn on the A site. So they clean it up, add a minute to the clock, 18 to 17 in lives, and I love this play from Path to Pro. They're just going to flip the map here. They have the high ground control. Texas Nation, they don't know where to look.
Yeah, this is really awkward, actually, because if Texas Nation do wipe these guys out, they will just spawn pretty close by. However, they haven't seen everybody. Havoc's gone for a delayed push here. You can see it on the minimap. He's hoping to throw Path to Pro themselves off, and he will do exactly that. He picks up that first engagement. Texas Nation still have players inside the base of Path to Pro, but they have to make this happen quickly because, as I said, as they get these kills on through, those players will continue to spawn in the backline, and this is quite a lot of time to be spending on this play.
Number 4, Kismet still alive on the platform. General coming to help out. You got 2 players very disconnected from this. Kismet's going to find it. General falls, so Kismet now on an island for the team. Is going to hop onto the side. No, it's not. He's just going to push this line. He's not expecting it. Kismet. Oh my god, Kismet. He flies. He takes down Proloop. Big swing onto that one. Now the opening of the B site, but nobody is taking advantage of that. Path to Pro, even losing these players, they're able to recollect themselves and take another swing at this. Hopping onto it. Clock is stopped at 34. Havoc watching the push.
That's a glide bomb earned in the play as well that we've got to keep an eye on for Kismet later on into this game. But while all this is happening, all those kills coming through, Texas Nation, they have made 2 points of progress at B. 1 more ticket progression is all that's required. They have the lives once again, but time really not on their side. This player close by, Kismet, might want to think about going. Unfortunately, he will end up falling, and now, of course, there is no time for his teammates to wait for him. He is going to have to come into this play late, while the rest of his team comes into this with a 3 versus 4. Brezzy, surely going to be first up to the plate from Church. Of course, these players from Path to Pro on the point. For Texas Nation, how do you approach this? There's the first kill coming through. The glide bomb play as well. They know they need one ticket progression. They know they can do this off the back of it. Spark will end up falling. Texas Nation, they're in control of the point, and they win their offensive round.
What a breakdown inside Tuscan. Texas, they just needed 1 swing, and they chose it's going to be their last. The shriek comes through from Kismet. He does enough to allow for a safer push the second time around, and he gets the job done. A full 4 wipe, and the last tick, it went fast. So Texas now in a great spot to put away Tuscan and take the swing map to go up 2-1 in the series. Path to Pro, they need to find an attacking round of their own, and it's already looked hard in the past.
Indeed, it has. This is tough. But at the very least, they don't have to worry about any streaks coming through because Kismet did just utilize that glide bomb for that final play. And what a final play it was, by the way. Good call from Texas Nation to bring out that streak and utilize it for the capture. Regardless now, looking at this one, though, Path to Pro going to be starting strong on this one. They're looking at capture A, but here comes a streak to put a stop to Path to Pro early on in this one. I don't know if it's the right play, but at the very least for now, they will stop that capture coming through.
Ooh, big snap from General as well. Proloop's able to trade, but a few kills go the way of Texas. Havoc looking to lock down the B site. And the stairs drops down. Mohawk's going to be able to live for a little bit of time. Path to Pro hop right back onto A, working this last tick. Proloop just fishing for it. So it is going to push this to 2 minutes and 13 seconds when they cap it. It looks like they want to push right into General, but he shuts them down.
Oh, General, that's
Ooh.
so tasty. Switches to the pistol, runs out of bullets. He doesn't want to take it without reloading his weapon, of course, and switches the pistol for it anyway. I think General just got a 4th kill as well. This is a lot of pressure that Path to Pro are facing right now. Look how far advanced some of these players are pushed up on the minimap. Havoc sitting in that power position up top in the window. Kismet is all the way to the rooftops. That's making sure that Path to Pro will continue to spawn over by P1. Texas Nation, they have General and Brezzy over there, well aware of the spawn points for Path to Pro. This is perfect map control right now.
Yeah, Path to Pro right now, they need to find a path to B. As all angles are locked down from Texas Nation, Mohawk and Yeez may have opened the lane. 3 kills go their way. Player number 4, Kismet, still deep in that enemy territory, spotting these players out as far away as they can, trusting that the teammates will pick up the kills when they do come through. So Path to Pro find 1 wipe, gives them some map control. Now looking for the second one. Jordan, General shuts down Proloop inside of Radio. It's going to be Havoc to shut down Spart, and the kill's going the way of Texas once more, and where Kismet is just deep again. Havoc, he's okay with running down, man. He's like, hey, where are you guys at? Oh, you're that far? Oh, yeah, no worries.
So far, this has just been really great play from Texas Nation here on the defense. They seem to have held Path to Pro off, not just at an arm's length, for a whole truck length at the moment. They've got nowhere near this control point. They haven't really had a single attempt at it. And Texas Nation outslaying in the past 2 control rounds. Look at that wave of kills coming through. Just 6 lives remaining on Path to Pro here. And this might well be that rare offensive round where it doesn't go down to time, it goes down to lives. There is just 5 on the board for Path to Pro. They literally have one perfect Hail Mary run, and that is it. And as Brezzy takes down Mohawk, I think that might have depleted down to 0 as well. Brezzy looking to put the nail in the coffin here in this game.
Shrieks can come through. Kismet finds Proloot. 3 players left. 1 player left. Mohawk last alive for the squad. He's gonna fall, and Texas Nation find themselves a swing map. We go to Tuscan Control. We said it needed to be a change for Texas Nation to find a control map, as their Gavitu didn't look the cleanest. Their attack, well, it was Kismet. Finds that glide bomb. Answers for 2 rounds in a row in the Texas Nation squad, and Pat the Pro just couldn't get it done to answer back. What a showing from Texas Nation in their control. Their Tuscan, it looks like an A game.
Indeed it does. And you know what? I think it was round number 3 that made all the difference. You expect round number 4 to go the way it did. Albeit, I will say, we'll come on that just a second, it was a little bit different to maybe how we do normally expect those defensive wins to go. And nonetheless, round number 3, that is where the difference was made. Of course, we did see the streak coming out of Brezzy in that round. It was a weird decision, right, to make for Texas Nation. It was like, do we actually want to invest this streak now? As soon as they get those first 2 kills coming through, I think the decision to invest the streak is absolutely the right one. Perfectly done here. As we look over towards our stat lines, a little asterisk on this, of course, Proloot decided to dip the hell out of the game before we got to show his stats here at the end, which is really annoying. Please don't do that, players, because it affects our stat collection. Regardless, here is our stat lines for the other 7 players in the lobby. That's highly impressive from Texas Nation. It's highly impressive for Havoc, by the way.
And you know what? It's even impressive that Path to Pro, they weren't that far behind in the slang. I mean, Mohawk 17 and 26 isn't the best, but you're right. I mean, they were going to toe-to-toe with a lot of these Texas Nation players. You put a highlight onto Havoc, 34 and 20, 28 of them untraded as well. And even, like, on top of that, just putting damage per round, 2 players on them, over 700 damage per round for that squad of Texas Nation, and just making sure that they're always in the action is going to be crazy. Well, we got some word that the mainstream over for the main challenger stream is going to take over that match between Texas Nation and Path the Pro. So if you want to find how that ends, go check out the mainstream where Shift and Visions are going to lock things down. We're going to hop over to Whatever It Takes versus UYU.
Indeed, we are, and this could well be the final map in this series as well. Whatever it takes, by the way, they already won their earlier match versus 18 and Cracked. I would say that was an upset, to be honest with you, if only because of the fact that 18 and Cracked obviously have been seeing a ton of success coming into the season. Whatever it takes, of course, technically speaking, I think they were the lowest seeded team to come out of the qualifier. Now looking to pull off their second upset, again, we'll kind of put it in air quotes here, of today by taking down UYU. They're currently in the lead here in this hard point. They're looking to put a stop to this.
You look at Whatever It Takes now, 210 to 185. Big lead here against UIU. Johnny's going to lock down the rotations. Still a couple more players to find. Proto's going to drop as well. Brack on the inside. Looking to pull things back. Is able to find 1 with the pistol. Second, and wraps around for Rex. 3 in a row for Brack. And Zinx is going to close it out. So Whatever It Takes now, this is where they can push this to a dangerous lead.
Yeah, you can't just buy kills like that. Brack has to earn them, and earn them he most certainly has here as Whatever It Takes. They can't finish off the back of this hard point. There is just 20 seconds remaining. They will need that rotation, which, technically speaking, UIU doesn't currently have control of. I think Whatever It Takes will be well aware of that fact. That's why they're desperately trying to push for this rotation right now. Ghosty, the young gun here on this Whatever It Takes roster. Oh my god! Scrap just got the first bullets there, but Ghosty certainly had the last.
The new kid on the team, making it happen. Ghosty now trying to stay alive long enough. Zinx helps him out. Whatever it takes, they're going to flip the script once more into this first hill. And you got to be careful if you're UIU. You need a break, and it's just not going to happen. Another 3 go down. Scrap last alive. The closest there is going to get the pistol out onto Ghosty. The break here for UIU. Rex goes big with 2. Scrap to stay alive, and they're going to weather the storm.
Yep, indeed they are. UIU right now. 30 seconds here on this hill to grab, and Whatever It Takes now, just 37 seconds ahead of them in the lead. Of course, UIU can't technically speaking finish it here in this game. Whatever It Takes will be in control of the rotation. Keep an eye on Ghosty. He is going to be the player that really needs to win that rotational gunfight. He will go head-to-head with Phantom before. And actually, Ghosty rotates him out of that position, trying to catch any of these UIU players off guard, knowing that his teammates will spawn up over towards docks.
On the rotation, Ghosty is he going to be aware of this player? Number 8. In the back line. Fully collapsed UIU. Are trapping whatever it takes, but Zinx on the inside, he's like, I'm not trapped with you. You're trapped with me. He's going to find a big kill onto Rex. Ghosty collecting it. 4 seconds. Make it 6 seconds left, actually, for whatever it takes. The break comes through for Zinx. This is last chance now for Rex to get into the hill. Is there enough time? It doesn't look like it. Whatever it takes, they're going to take Berlin, and they're going to take the series.
How about that one right now? Whatever it takes. Wow, oh, wow. They are going to finish day number 1, 2-0, Colin. What a performance from them.
I mean, you talk about whatever it takes from the past. You know, starting off this roster, not having Ghosty in it. Sensor originally occupied that spot, and recently taking out Sensor from the roster. They put Jimbo in. Jimbo doesn't solidify it, and they replace him with Ghosty. And now you look at whatever it takes. What are they doing? Well, they qualify for the elites, and they're going 2-0 on to day 1. It's just looking like the stocks are just climbing up and up for them. And on top of everything, they have a fantastic logo. Shout out to Connor for that one. I love what I'm seeing from the squad. They're just looking like a solidified roster here in the elites.
Yep, absolutely. Apologies, guys. I was just trying to sort something for the stream while I was frantically looking left and right and such. I promise I was listening to you, Colin. Don't worry about it, buddy. Regardless, yeah, incredible play from whatever it takes. I love the look of this squad right now. I wasn't entirely sure how they would do coming into this, honestly. Then again, with North America, you never can quite be sure how things are going to go. For this whatever it takes roster, though, they look sublime. Brack, by the way, a highly impressive player here coming into this team. I think he definitely has quite a lot to prove, and I think he has definitely proven that there in the match. The entire squad look incredible. I can't wait to cast whatever it takes in a full-length matchup. I want to cast them. Man, they look so good. And if you were to tell me any roster that you pegged as being 2-0 at the end of day number 1, I probably wouldn't have picked whatever it takes, especially given the fact that they played 18 and cracked and beat them, by the way, in their first match of the day. That is huge, exciting stuff for whatever it takes. But Colin, I think on our community broadcast here for Kutch, I think that was the last map that we can actually show you guys. I think everything else is basically done. Just to go through the results for you guys at home for that second set of series at Team Raw. 3-0 over Villains. Texas Nations versus Party Pro, that is technically still ongoing. We'll talk about that in just a second. Bearclaw versus 18 and Cracked. That was an 18 and Cracked victory over Bearclaw. 3-0, by the way, Colin. So we've got a lot of 3-0s here to talk about. And then finally, as you say, whatever it takes, 3-1 victory versus UYU. Any real surprises there, Colin?
Well, definitely not the 18 and Cracked versus Bearclaw. We got a little bit of a look at that Gava too.
Oh, yeah.
That was something else. So I'm not surprised that 18 and Cracked were able to take this throw, but yeah, whatever it takes. I'm surprised as you are. I mean, the fact that they're able to walk away 2-0 in the series is definitely a big highlight for the day for them. It's not a team that I would have marked off as being one of the successful ones. But if you talk about through the qualifiers, you know, what we saw to them is they did end up qualifying through the losers bracket. They ended up beating Real Madrid throughout the qualifiers as well. And whatever it takes, I mean, just they look better. They look better than they did in the qualifiers here in the elites. And I think they've made some really big changes to solidify that for their team. So I think whatever it takes definitely is a surprise for me that they're 2-0, but it's nice to see them coming to life.
Yep, absolutely. I fully agree with you, Colin. It is nice to see whatever it takes in the position they are in. Of course, they finished 2-0. Of course, we're not going to show you guys a scoreboard of what everything looks like at the end of day number 1 for North America. We simply don't have that kind of graphic available. That being said, we do know that whatever it takes to finish 2-0, I think one other team will finish 2-0 as well. I think that might fully depend on that Path to Pro versus Texas Nation matchup, whether or not Path to Pro do end up beating them. Because Texas Nation obviously might go 0-2 at the end of day number 1 as well, which would be just insane. But that's going to do it for the community broadcast here for North America. Colin, it's been a blast casting with you, mate, regardless of the fact it's like 2 a.m. here now. And your boy is literally, my brain is mush at the moment. I'm not going to lie. If I made some terrible calls, guys, probably because my brain is dead at this point in night. That being said, Colin, any closing words?
I mean, I think you did fantastic today
throughout
the whole
mate.
thing. It's been a long day, you know, and I think you earned a nap right now. 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m., man. I need a full sleep. That's what I need. I need a reset.
But the players, I mean, it's not over just yet for the day. For the fans at home watching it, don't forget that Path to Pro versus Texas Nation game that might be going to the distance. Check out the main channel. That's Shift and Vision's taking you through it. You don't want to miss it. That's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's youtube.com/COD challenges. Make sure you're not only checking that out right now to watch that game, the conclusion of that one, which, I mean, I honestly think that's going to go to game 5, personally. Regardless, not only check that out on that YouTube channel, but make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel as well, because that is where all the future action in regards to Call of Duty challenges will be taking place. However, there will be additional challenges coverage from us here at Clutch. I think there's a YouTube Clutch channel coming for tomorrow's matches. That as well will be live. Of course, check out the Twitter. We are Clutch GG for all updates in regards to our challenges coverage and everything else we do here at Clutch. It's been a blast covering Challengers Elite for day number 1 of stage number 1. Europe and North America have been completed. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Eastern Time.